It's right here. Yeah. So 3 hours, 18 minutes. Where we just looked over a lot of the stuff that happened over the course of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, 918 subs. That's what we were at before.
And now we're all the way up at 2,000, isn't it?
Yeah, we're in all the way up to 2K now. 2105.
You do know, I know this sounds a bit corny of me, but it makes me proud to see that kind of number.
I'm glad to see it actually finally come through. Where it's like, after doing it for 5 years, eventually seeing some results is kind of nice. And it's all because of this video. It's literally just because 100% this video. There's no other reason at all.
You're sharp, this one.
Yeah, because it ballooned all of a sudden out of nowhere at the start of this year, around March, I think. And it just kept going up and up and up and up. Eventually, it did stop growing, but I mean, by that point, it was already at 200,000. So, and people really like this video. Like, it's
Didn't they get put on an official Twitter?
like 519 comments. People really like this video, and I've read every single comment here. By the way, you can tell because I've liked all of them. All of them.
People, I remember with Waddicker TV, I did read some of the comments. People saying you deserve so much more.
And a lot of the comments on this video.
There was that one comment of just like, oh yeah, just use Bogan, and then they replied to their own comment saying, oh, I'm a year late.
Yeah, I love this comment so much because like hopefully this puts a rest to people doing it seriously. Duh, you can do it with sharpening, just run power Bogan, duh. Oh, I'm a year late. Yeah, it's such a good 1.4K this person got for this comment.
Deserved, honestly.
Deserved. It's a really good one.
Yeah.
Oh wait, someone keyframed it, or people. So I didn't know that. I didn't do this.
I think YouTube does that automatically.
Maybe.
Yeah. See.
Huh.
Basil geese.
Basil geese.
I think that's YouTube trying to auto-populate it based on the words that like it's trying to.
Yeah. Funnily enough, this
I've
video.
also been noticing that on like Anton Hand's old videos too.
It's been just putting chapters where it thinks they make sense, and honestly, it seems like it's doing a pretty good job. Like, I mean, it's missing a lot of monsters, but like Charge Blade, not really. But it's also missing a ton of monsters if it was actually going to do it, but it's doing a decent job. It's good to have like an outline, I suppose, of like where it happens. Yeah. This video actually became popular enough to get the like the system where it shows where people click the most or where people replay the most. This was 2 years ago, a year and a half ago ish, about. Yeah, this was a while ago. I put a ton of work into this video as well. It took a lot of effort to make, so I'm glad it finally popped off after a while. And all the most viewed clips are the jokes, which is expected. You know. Always made them drop one material they can give. Hey, Tober. It's not really too surprising that all the jokes are the parts that get the most views, because people like scroll back and watch them again. So. Scale. Yeah, boys, let's go. And I was expecting this one to get a lot of views or a lot of replays. I'd still really love that joke, actually. I take them both down with no problem and get. What is this one? Relevant early on when the biggest threat is a zappy squirrel or flying chicken, but you'll definitely see its effects on the run very. Yeah, basically anywhere there's like a graphical jokes. But they at least have a very neat design. Thought. I was super. And then there's also Xenojiva. Goes on for over 25 minutes. Now on my chopping block, including DLC monsters. Yeah, this video popped off this year, which is the whole reason we reached 2K. It's the whole reason we reached 1K. I'm kind of surprised we reached 2K by the end of the year. Seems like quite a stretch to go from like not very much to 2K. But it was
There's no one.
it did steadily happen. Like it was not like we ballooned it. It was like it started just steadily happening at the end of from the start of the year to the end of the year. Killer Bean stream was 4 years ago? Yeah, this was 4 years ago, and I don't know why it has 26k views. I don't think anyone knows why. I'm glad Receiver 2 got a lot
it's
of views.
Killer Bean.
True. Honestly, we eventually need to redo this, I think. With like a much bigger gang and like a more modern gang. Like me, Coco, Bippin, Buck, Kieran, Mistake. Anyone else who's joining in. Like we need to get like a whole gang in and be like, Waddicker and gang, watch Killer Bean Forever 2. The sequel. Which probably won't get near as much, but...
Is it getting a sequel?
No. I don't think the movie is, but we can do a follow-up to that. Anyway, starting from like all the way back at the start of the year.
You should watch Morbius on stream again.
We could.
God. The Morbin jokes that would be made.
So this year, I mean, last year was, I would say like a very experimental, not like experimental as in like we were being like experimental in the sense that it was very like flitty. We were going back and forth between games. Like, look at this, for example, like Toontown, GTFO, Inscription, and Halo Infinite, Five Nights at Freddy's, Ready or Not. Like we were swapping games every single other day, pretty much, with like some loose strands, like, or strains of like Halo Infinite coming in, and I think we played a lot of Halo Infinite when it first launched as well, which was up there.
Went so bad, like.
Yeah, there was a lot of like, you couldn't really tell what we were going to stream every single day. You could maybe tell if we got really into a game, like with Sea of Thieves, you could probably tell we were going to stream it again. But, and we did take a hold at mod it last year, which I was planning to do more seasons at the end of last year and this year, but I never did. Because, primarily because I just didn't have art for the thumbnail, and I still don't have art for the thumbnail. I just can't afford it. And I can't find artists who, because Jubei is annoying because they're in this weird middle ground of like, they're not a furry character, but they are kind of a furry character. Like, so if I approach like a furry artist, they're like,
it's too human.
Yeah, they're like, it's too human.
Human artists are like, it's too furry.
Yeah, so I'm like, I've approached like several artists. And they've been like, this character doesn't really fit what I do. Like, I do full furry stuff, or I do full like human stuff, and it's like, it's really hard to find people who will draw this character. So that's like the primary reason, and of course money, because at the start of the year, I ended up having to. I mean, we'll cover this in a second, actually. But if we go up to when the new year started, and like I was saying before, last year was very experimental. We were hopping between games constantly. I think 2022 for Waddicker was the year of the chain games, like where we had games we liked and we played the shit out of them over and over again for months.
Don't fix it.
Yeah, like 2021 was the year where we were like, we're gonna try a whole bunch of things, see what we like, blah blah blah. If we like this game, we can return to it later, blah blah blah. And 2022 was like all that getting put into action, where it's the games that we liked the most that we played. So I mean, obviously the experimental stuff started pretty... Hey, Quo. We're just talking about how 2022 went as well. But I would say that the experimental angle got covered with SYS, which is what I started at it was actually the first Sunday of the year, and it's happening again. So I think this is how SYS is going to go from here on out, is I'm going to do SYS for maybe half the year, and then the latter half is going to be like a little bit empty, a little bit more spotty, because that's what happened before. I kind of get horror games out a bit, you know what I mean? Like if you play enough, like a genre enough, you eventually start being like a little bit bored of it, and you get like toned out of it, and so
there's only so many good horror games in a year as well.
Yeah, so I was mixing with running out of games to play. Burned out, yeah. Basically, I got burned out of horror games alongside having no games to play, so I was like, you know what, we're just going to let them build up a bit. We're going to wait and let them build.
Let them stew.
But, yeah, I think that's how it's going to go. We're going to start SOS up at the very beginning of the year, literally the first day. because tomorrow is a Sunday. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this was where I think the experimental side came in, where the rest of the year was kind of dedicated to chain games or like streak games. SYS kind of covered for that, and being the like random game of the week of sorts that we did. We did start out the year with a bunch of Ready or Not, and then we haven't played it since. We should play it again at some point. And then
was Dead by Daylight there as well.
and then Monster Hunter Rise released on PC, and you can tell. But I think anyone can tell when we're playing Monster Hunter anyway, when it's a new release or when we're getting into it, because like it just keeps going. Ready or Not, or sorry, Monster Hunter stays for a while. It's got a big presence. 2 stars looking to put 2 tutorials into consoles.
You weren't sure if you'd like it.
Like what?
Monster Hunter. You weren't too sure.
Yeah, but this was before I started streaming on Waddicker. Even just a brief history is I played Monster Hunter World on PS4, played it for 20 hours, decided I didn't like the game, put it down, decided fuck it, I don't really care. Then afterwards, got really into it when we started playing it on Waddicker, and then that was it. It had settled in. Monster Hunter is definitely the type of game where, unfortunately, you won't get the appeal for like the first 20 hours. Like it might feel like really not rewarding, but eventually it sinks its teeth into you. There is a quote that I heard someone say, which I think is completely true, is that if you don't love Monster Hunter, you just haven't played it long enough. Which is kind of true. I mean, obviously there are people who don't actually like the genre, but you know, if it's a game you're vaguely interested in, you're probably going to love it if you play it long enough, is I think what the statement truly means. But yeah, it started with Monster Hunter Rise, and SYS kept going as well. It was a lot more jumpy SYS at the start, is what I noticed. Like we would play one game, jump to another game constantly, and eventually it started narrowing in when we were running out of games, where it's just like we were also playing longer games for SYS as well, like that one retro one that I finished early in the year.
The arcadey one. Yeah, I remember the one. I can't remember its name.
There's Lost in Vivo. I haven't touched it again because it's been so long. And
it's a scary game.
Yeah.
And partially just because you were just too stressed out.
I don't know what it was about that game, but I genuinely just couldn't play it for that long.
Atmosphere in it. Mm-hmm. The atmosphere and everything about that game was just
It was like I was stressed for like an hour straight, and I was like, I gotta play something else. So, and that's why I like playing like Five Nights at Freddy's fan games, because they're very gamey instead. Like they're focused on game mechanics, which is like a nice change of pace for like a horror game, where you get the good horror game vibes of like the jump scares and the atmosphere and like the tone, but you don't get any of like the really, really harsh atmosphere you can get from something like Lost in Vivo, which can tire you out. So I can play like FNAF fan games forever, because they're just usually super good.
What was your opinion on Nightmare of Decay? The one that's like definitely Resident Evil.
Yeah, it's basically just Resident Evil, like in its entirety. I liked it. I wouldn't say it's like a very standout game to me though, in the sense that like it's a good game, it's a great game, but I wouldn't remember it as a horror game.
Yeah, because it doesn't actually do anything new for like the genre.
It's got the fundamentals, and it does the fundamentals really, really, really well. But if I'm thinking of that, like, whenever my train of thought goes towards a game like that, I would go towards Resident Evil instead, you know?
Yeah.
Because, or if I was really trying to find a game that wasn't Resident Evil, which is along those lines, I would go to something like Cry of Fear, you know? Mm-hmm. Something classic. So, it's more like just a really well done interpretation of that style of like action survival horror.
Got a question for you, mate.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is your favorite SYS video you did this year?
Easy, hands down. It's not even like a choice. If I can find it. Where did we play it? Yeah,
Is it
Subway
what I
Midnight.
think it is?
Yeah,
Subway Midnight. Yeah, I had a
absolutely.
feeling.
I mean,
That
Subway
game was
Midnight is on my
amazing.
it would be on my games of the year. Like it's Subway Midnight is like that good, and even though it came out last year, this is a phenomenal horror game that has basically everything you want. It doesn't really have a lot of technical stuff to it. Like there's no, it's not very gameplay depth. Not a lot of gameplay depth, but it's very wide in the experiences that it offers. It's a very experimental game.
Story that shows. It shows it with even without words, if I remember correctly, most of it.
I mean, there's no dialogue and there's no words the entire game. It's all like physically.
Unless you count the wanted posters.
Unless you count the wanted posters, but those are more like storytelling elements, like environment. But I do want to do like a games of the year video, but I'll just refresh what I would say on that here. I love the way that Subway Midnight tells its story because it's very vague. It feeds you the info visually and through what you're playing, but never tells you anything about it. It's like you're experiencing the story just through and through, which is what is so good about it because you can create your own interpretations of what's going on while also simultaneously figuring out from new information that you're getting, and it's really nice that way. So like this entire section is about the artist girl who you're exploring through a bunch of really like wacky artistry locations that don't appear to have a lot of meaning unless you look really deep into it, where you see that like she gets burned out of doing the same thing. Like this is the story that I took from this artist part is the public only liked her doing one drawing, which you can see here, like just doing one thing. But she didn't like doing one thing. She didn't want to. She got awards and everything. It was put up in museums. So, but she didn't like doing just a single drawing. She wanted to expand, but every time she tried to expand, it didn't go anywhere and it flopped. So she just had to keep doing the same thing again. And the whole purpose of this arc of saving her is like telling her, you know, go buck wild, do what you want. Don't care about what other people say. You know, just be the artist that you want to be. And eventually she, you know, when you actually do save her, she effectively colors over the drawings she was doing previously and drawing you at the same time. So it's like yeah, but that's what I like about this game and its story, because every single aspect of the story is like that, where it just shows you what's going on but never tells you what's going on. And
then there was that section.
Yeah, and it wasn't bereft of horror either. I mean, this entire section is probably the scariest thing I've ever experienced in a horror game. Because it does horror so well. The pacing in Subway Midnight is absolutely pristine. I think I talked about it at the very end as well for a long time. But the pacing is what really kills or makes most horror games. Because I couldn't handle Lost in Vivo because the pacing was, you're in a fight, you're in atmosphere, fight. And I was hyperventilating. I was like, I can't handle this. It's not really paced. Like, it wanted to be so thick in its own atmosphere, which is a genre of its own, is overcoming that. But it wanted to be so thick in its own atmosphere that I couldn't handle it. Meanwhile, Subway Midnight, once you have the horror section, you go back and you start doing a bunch of experimental sections. In fact, straight after the horror section, you have a show that you don't do anything during, which is perfect. Like, there's no gameplay here. You just watch a cutscene for a long time to really wind yourself down. And I think it really shows that the creator, Bobby Darkstar, really knows how to pace horror. Really knows when to give you breaks to let you just, like, put the pressure off. And then it lets it build all over again, because then when you get into this section, there's a whole bunch of...
And then there's like 1.5 jump scares in the entire horror section.
Yeah. And then there's a whole bunch of unnerving stuff during this section, which is a little more tense. And there was also like the weird moment. This is the area I think of when I think of like another scary section, which is this, which is is scary from like vagueness and just atmosphere, and like you can't really see a lot, and you know, it's just really cool how this game does horror, because it's like very, very smartly done, very well paced, very well told. I could gush about this game for hours, and I gotta make a video on it in order to do it, honestly. Yeah, that's my favorite horror game from SYS, and probably one of my favorite games of the year.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be one of those videos where like the script ends up being like 6 pages long, and you have to shorten it to 2.
Yeah.
Remember how you went on about the show You Do Nothing There? Right? Even just sitting there watching the show, there's a lot meaning behind the show and everything.
Yeah,
It's like
obviously.
he never got to do that when he was alive, did he not?
No, it's the show is about him being overworked to death, and doing the same routine, being stuck in a routine of like wake up, go to work, go home, go to sleep, wake up, go to work, go home. Basically, that's that character's, and he got overworked to the point of a boiling point, and that's his story. But I mean, that's Subway Midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it looks like we were pretty experimental during this section. You know, trying a whole bunch of different games, and SYS obviously helped. We did part 1 of Astroneer. Where's part 2? You'll never find it. It doesn't exist.
Among Us.
Among Us. Where's part 2 of Among Us? It doesn't exist. You'll never find it.
I
Not
can't
yet,
wait
anyway.
for that.
Which is surprising considering like how much total fun we had with it, like Among Us.
I mean, I think the main limiting point of Among Us is just like the fact that you need like at least 5 or 6 people.
Yeah.
Which is not very common.
And they all have to like be committed to funny, you know?
Yeah, or like they have to be committed for like a funny and like 2 hours and like stuff like that. So it's kind of hard to arrange Among Us. It's not the type of game you can just pop in either. You can't just start it with 3 people and then like, all right, we'll get more people later on. No, it's you have to start. Everyone has to be here at once, which makes it kind of hard to work with. Then fucking Elden Ring released.
Oh yeah.
I do plan to do. I actually put a lot of effort into this because I actually have everything timestamped in terms of bosses and everything. It's a shame that I had my crappy PC. This was, by the way, if we're talking about what's happened during the year, the big event that happened for me was that I bought a new PC after 5 or 6 years of having my old one, which I've been using for a while. It was good enough.
A month later, I also got my new PC, so I was finally able to play like
all the stuff that you didn't get to.
Punch at the same weight as everybody else who was on the stream.
But Elden Ring was the straw that broke the camel's back for me, where I was like, I really enjoy this game and I really want to stream it, but I legitimately can't, because once I got to late game, there was so much shit going on, so many enemies, so many environments, that I was legitimately at like 24 FPS the entire time, and I was like, I'm sorry, I gotta play the rest of the game offline. Which is unfortunate, because after I did my first playthrough, I did a second playthrough immediately after and spent like 100 hours in the game. So, everything you're seeing on YouTube is merely like the cliff notes of what I played of Elden Ring. And we do plan to play it again at some point, because of the mod that lets you fully co-op. But I mean, to put it short, it's fucking Elden Ring. It's like I don't need to say anything that this would be on my Game of the Year list as well, because this game is incredible. It's just it got Game of the Year from the Game Awards, so
yeah.
I don't need to say much about it. It's just like a phenomenal video game. I wasn't planning to buy it initially, but because I had actually tried Bloodborne and I tried Sekiro beforehand as well. Sekiro, I kind of fell out of. I wasn't really that interested. It's not the type of hack and slash game I like. I've kind of dialed in on the hack and slash games I like, where I don't like the ones where you're given a character, a specific moveset, and you upgrade that moveset over time. I don't really like that, I've found. The same thing for God of War. It's why I don't like God of War. The 2017 version? The one that was on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
New continuity. I played that on stream, And I played it for like 2 parts, and I was like, I don't really like this game for some reason. I just don't. Because it has that thing where it has so many like mini moves you can do. Like, oh, after a shield bash, you can press blah, 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 and you do a tackle. And after the tackle, you can do blah, blah, blah. And after the sword swing, you can do blah, blah. And I don't like those games. I like having simple,
understand. You play Monster Hunter.
Yes, because that game, you're given everything from the start. That's the big difference. With Monster Hunter, you're given the moveset almost completely from the start. Because, and you're just supposed to learn more about it as you go on. As opposed to, like, what's it, like Sekiro and God of War, where you're given like a pittance of a moveset, where it's like, swing 3 times. Epic. And then it's like, by the end of the game, you're swinging like 40 times with 70 different special moves, which you're all supposed to apparently keep track of as they all do different things to different enemies, and like, ugh. It's very,
yeah.
like, I like having lots of options. That's why I like fighting games.
The Doom Eternal problem. It's like, you need a specific weapon with a specific augment to defeat a specific enemy, and you have to keep switching weapons and, like, weapon mods just to, like, be able to damage certain enemies. I
feel like Doom Eternal was fine for me, but I really did like Doom Eternal, but I would say that was the part I liked the least. But there's nothing you can do about it for Doom Eternal. I think that game has to be built like that, and I think they built it so well that it didn't bother me nearly as much. It's very slightly different in terms of like how it is for me, but that's why Sekiro didn't really capture me, and I didn't really like Bloodborne either. But this was years ago, so it's kind of a different story. I wasn't going to buy Elden Ring, but then I saw people saying it was so good. It was actually incredible, and I was like, I really do want to try it out, because these games look fantastic, and in retro...
It's one of those things where it's like, you don't know if it's going to be good, but you really want it to be.
Yeah. Like,
and so you give it its fair shake.
Yeah, you know? Everyone's saying that this is like the best game ever made. I'm like, I want to see if it's true. I want to see if they're correct. They're correct. This is like one of the best games ever made. And it did gel with me because of the way it handles progression, where you get gear that has different movesets instead of you have a move, or you have a build which gets more moves. So I kind of like the building in this game more. There's also so many options for building in Elden Ring, which just make it so fun. Like, you can make an entire build around every single weapon in the game, and you would have something viable, which is excellent. But that's Elden Ring.
And then there's just Bloodhound's Fang, which
is
if you're running a sword build, you just want Bloodhound's Fang.
Yeah. I did do something pretty damn impressive in SOS, which is this. At Dead of Night, spoilers, I don't die a single time in this entire playthrough. On the hardest difficulty, on extreme mode. So, including the ending, too. Including the ending section where you can only die once. And then you lose. So, I actually do manage to go through the entire game. And I have as a result, I have one of the rarest achievements on Steam. Which is, you've done it before, so you were used to him. I played the game before on normal difficulty. But I'd done that without being hit. But extreme mode is a different story, obviously.
Oh yeah, it was.
But I mean, still pull it off. Yeah, I think early on in the year it was a little bit more experimental as we were kind of dialing things in and doing a whole bunch of stuff. Around, when did I get my new PC? I got my new PC around here, I think, just about. I mean, we could tell from Risk of Rain if the frame rate is any sort of stable, which, okay, so I don't think it was now. But that was probably the big event for me, was getting a new PC and finally being able to record and stream at HD properly. Because that's one of the big changes that the VOD channel got, is that eventually I started posting VODs in 1440p, which makes a huge difference for quality. Like, this is a stream in terms of, but I can just record at such a high quality, and I render out at 1440p, which helps even more. If you don't know, if you're posting a video to YouTube, you should probably upscale it to 1440p, depending on what it is, because that gives you access to the better codec that YouTube has, even for 1080p. So if I go to, let's see, 480p, that's a little bit bad, but 720p.
Yeah.
And then we go to stats for nerds. It shows the, I guess it's here too, because you're looking for the VP9 codec, and you only get that if you have a video at 1440p or higher. So let me go back down just to showcase it really quick. So it would be about here probably. Yeah, so stats for nerds, AVC1. So, but you just get a better codec if you're at 1440p, which bumps the quality massively. It makes a huge difference. So, VOD started looking way, way better. And it really helps on stuff like Terraria, because Terraria is tiny. We never actually completed our Terraria playthrough. We got really close. We got all the way up to our, or we got all the way up to the Duke Fish Run, and we were about to do Moonlord, and then, oopsie, a bunch of other games released, including Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak.
Guilty Gear as well.
Yeah.
A lot of Guilty Gear.
Guilty Gear was kind of spiced through, unlike 2021, where we just played it for like 3 months in a row. Then once Sunbreak released, obviously the Sunbreak was kind of a huge portion of it. And
yeah, you were talking about Guilty Gear while we were playing Terraria, and how excited you were to play it.
Yeah. I think it's because Mistake got it. Yeah, Mistake ended up getting the game here, so we started to play it more. Yeah, so it was very experimental around here, I guess, or like going back and forth. And then once Sunbreak hit, we kind of just went in like a straight line. So it's like, obviously, Sunbreak. Then we played a lot of Frontiers. We played a little bit more Sunbreak eventually. And I think then we got, just kind of going back and forth between Sunbreak and Frontiers and a bunch of extra games. Up until we reached, where was it? Damn, we did all, this was, wait, is it doubling? Oh, it's doubling! That's why it looks so weird. What the hell?
Weird?
Yeah, it's like, I was like, why is this so weird?
There's Resistance 2040X.
Yeah. Also an extremely good game that I'm really excited to see released
which you
next
have
year.
sung the praises of every opportunity you get.
Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect introductory horror game. Introductory fighting game. Because of its simplicity.
Pretty big difference between those, Wad.
Yeah, a little. I mean, I'm sure fighting games are a horror game for some people. So.
Yeah, for me, just because I get killed over and over and over again.
Yeah, Resistance 204X is the perfect 2D fighting game to introduce new people to, because I most of the time, and this is going to be like my own personal gripe, which Resistance 204X is also guilty of, but it doesn't really matter as much for Resistance 204X, is I hate that when 2D fighters decide, hey, we want to become more approachable to the average player. The first thing they do is like, oh, we're going to simplify the inputs and just make them like really dumb and easy to put in. Like basically just like hold up and press a button, as opposed to doing like the quarter circles and the Z motions and stuff like that. When the majority of the fighting game player base is perfectly fine doing all of those, and like a dog can do a Z motion. So I hate that whenever they want to make a game approachable, they always go with simplifying the controls, which I think is such like a non, like it's such a like a, it doesn't actually do what they think it does. Because then you have to design the game appropriately around all those inputs being like insanely easy. which changes how the game plays and then just kind of makes it a little bit less interesting. You lose a lot of depth from taking away motion inputs. Resistance 204 gets away with that because it is also trying to be on mobile, crossplay with mobile. So you can't do Z motions on a mobile phone, therefore everything is a button anyway, so it's kind of excusable. Plus, this game is designed in such a way that it doesn't really lose out on any of its depth from it. And also just the replayability of it in terms of like you're always constantly in a new fight because it's based on Nidhogg. It exposes new players to fights constantly. That's like the worst part about trying to get into fighting games, is that if you're up against someone who's better than you, you don't get to play. Like, you just straight up do not get to play at all. They will put you in the corner and they will just like mix you to hell and you can't do anything. You feel like you'd never even got to touch the game. This game, however, puts everyone in round start position every 10 seconds. You get put into a lot of fights very quickly, which makes you learn very quickly. It also gives you a lot of opportunity very quickly. You can't make perfect moves every 5 seconds as the player who's better, especially in a game which is kind of very rock paper scissors sided like this one, which is why I think this is such a good idea. It is actually a phenomenal idea that I'm surprised hasn't been done sooner. It's just like, it is the perfect introductory, I'm gonna say it again, 2D fighter, just without a doubt. And I'm so excited to see where this goes, especially considering they're ballooning out with new characters, new content, and a whole bunch of other stuff. We were actually on a thing for this. Let me go and pick it up. 204X YouTube. Yeah, the developer reached out to us and asked if we could do a spotlight showcase. So what they had us do was a best of 5. I hate the way Opera does its stuff. Ugh. Yeah, right here. So they actually had us do a best of 5. Technically, I think it was a best of 3 because we a little bit of lack of communication. But this is me and Bipin playing a full set that they ended up showcasing on a fighting game showcase, which is very kind of them to allow us to do. It was quite a wonderful thing for us to be able to do. But yeah, I'm really excited to see where this game goes. I think it's going to go big places, to be honest. It's just kind of the perfect introductory fighting game to pull people in. And I imagine it's going to be pretty cheap, considering it's going to be on a mobile as well. It might even be free. So there's no harm in trying it. What came after that? I mean, we're pretty far out now through most of the year.
Dude, and Fortnite.
Yeah. But eventually the year became a lot more focused on the games we did enjoy, like Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. We played a lot of that. Go Up. And then we started playing Fortnite. We did a long streak of Fortnite, which then got interrupted by JoJo, which didn't play a whole lot of.
Which didn't last very long because...
Yeah. And then, oops, oopsie. Oops, Splatoon 3 released.
Yeah.
Honestly, kind of felt like it just came out of nowhere, to be honest. But yeah, I love Splatoon 3, and we played it for about a month and a half straight. It doesn't look like a month and a half right here, but it was about a month and a half. Then we started playing Dead by Daylight again, and then this got a streak, like a quite a significant streak too. This is more than Splatoon did.
I was actually very surprised when you started playing Dead by Daylight again, and it actually stayed for a while.
Yeah,
it's because prior to that you had talked so much shit on Dead by Daylight and the way it was developed that I thought you were just going to leave it alone out of spite.
Yeah, I honestly would have said the same thing 3 months ago, because they were developing like shit for a while. They were like actually going absolutely fucking ass at the game, doing the dumbest decisions of all time. But in like the last year or so, they started recovering, up until pretty recently, where they were like, they made like some huge massive changes, which were like really huge steps in the correct direction. And so I thought, okay, they're recovering the game now, so may as well give it another shot. And we tried it again, and we were like, all right, we love it again because it just feels great to play in comparison to like all the changes they were making beforehand. And it stuck around for a while. Then Darktide released, and we played a decent chunk of that. And then, oops, Fortnite. Yeah, Fortnite came back again when Chapter 4 released, and then we're honestly kind of up to where we are now. See, there's not a whole lot between the start of the year and the end of the year, which is a little bit of a shame. I kind of like the jumpy nature, but I mean, I say that, and then we scroll back down, and there's a ton of different games. I keep saying that
Halo Infinite was a thing.
Was a thing. After,
kind of wish it wasn't.
Yeah. I had so much hopes for Halo Infinite, but this year they really shat the bed so hard.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's 343 Industries. What can you like? They've shown that they just can't make games that well.
Yeah, I mean, I was hopeful for the. I mean, Halo Infinite is still a good game. It's still good. It's still great. The gameplay is great. Campaign is great. The multiplayer gameplay is generally pretty great. But the problem is they just can't maintain that for some reason.
No,
like they just keep like fucking it up, and it's such a shame. Eventually, it got to a point where I got so like the straw that broke the camel's back with Halo Infinite for me was when they announced that split screen co-op was no longer going to be a feature, which is something they had been promising for the past 6 years. They promised it,
and then somebody like hacked into the game and then just made split screen co-op like a thing.
Yeah.
Using the infrastructure that was already there, so it was already possible. They just didn't do it.
Yeah, the split screen co-op was already functionally there, completed, fully playable, and they just like for some reason decided, hey, this massive PR hit is much more worth it than actually putting the work in to put in the feature people want. And, like, I don't know why they think they can get away with this shit, or they thought that they could get away with that shit, but, like, they fucking didn't.
What killed it for me was them as well. The co-op thing, like what you said, but what else killed it for me was they were promising this huge update that would give us Forge and all that. They've got Forge beta out right now, and the Forge beta is okay, but they've then gone and pushed everything and said big update back to March of, the year coming.
I mean, that's the other big thing. It's kind of like a whole bunch of problems with Halo Infinite that came into fruition, where for me, it was the split screen co-op. I was like, if you're gonna like do everyone dirty like that, literally promise a feature for several years, literally years, because you know that you made a mistake. Because in Halo 5 didn't have split screen co-op, and they were like, it got massive backlash because they didn't realize people actually wanted that as a feature. And they were like, okay, we're gonna make sure split screen co-op is in the game or in our next game, 100%. We're doing it at launch, 100%. Sorry, it's gonna be post-launch. Just give us a little bit. Sorry, we're actually axing the whole fucking thing for no reason. I think it's like genuinely kind of disgusting, like really disgusting, what they did with split screen co-op. Considering, I don't think you should be held. I think they should be held accountable for promising a feature for 5 years and then not delivering. Because like, it's almost on the par of like No Man's Sky. If that game got a lawsuit for false advertising, I think that Halo Infinite should have had a leg in that race. Which is such a shame, because the gameplay is so good, and like the thing that really just makes Halo Infinite such a sore spot is they just can't update the game in a relevant or in a prevalent way, in any capacity. It's like trying to get content out of 343 for Halo Infinite is like pulling teeth. Or like pulling nails. It's so fucking hard to be like, hey, can we get like new content? Sure. You're gonna get 2 new maps over the course of 8 months. It's like, what? You do realize that Bungie managed to get like a whole expansion of like several Forge maps, several multiplayer maps out within 12 months.
Yeah.
And like, was it Call of Duty managed to get map packs out like every 3 months back in like Black Ops 2 era, and that was like packs of 4 maps and a zombie map. That, you know, like, it's just so frustrating to watch 343 literally like butterfingers their way around making content. And that's what really just killed this game for me. And eventually, like, I just swore off of it. I was like, I'm done. I uninstalled the game and I was like, I'm gonna put up a negative review and I'm gonna leave it. Just gonna let this game sit. And whether I pick it up again really depends on like 2 years from now and if they've actually made some serious progress. But I don't think they can. I think they've.
Well, we can check back in 2 years when they've removed the charms that you can put on your gun.
Yeah, honestly.
That's it. They actively reduce the amount of content, or they actually do a Bungie.
I just cannot believe that they were like, here's the big winter update, guys. 2 fucking maps and 1 gun. 2 maps and a gun.
Yep.
Are you kidding me? Like, can they not actually release content for this game?
All the rest of it was cosmetics, like they brought back the Mark V helmet, which everyone was wanting, alongside a shit ton of stuff from that was, you know how they had the Reach Pass to begin with, right?
Yeah. No, I know. I've seen the updated one. Yeah, the one that they added in later on. But yeah, that's Halo Infinite, and I think there's one more time we play it, maybe. But
yeah, and didn't 343 also have like a promo where like if you bought a color of nail polish, you would get that as like an armor coating?
I think
that color as an armor coating.
I think so.
And then it ended up being for Forza instead. And that armor coating still is not in Halo Infinite.
They also there was if you're playing Halo, if you played Halo 5 and you got to the maximum rank, you got a coating for your Spartan, which was like red and white and black. There is a paid for coating, which is just it, but more colorful. As in, like, the saturation is higher, so it just looks better than the one that you get if you got max rank in Halo 5. Like, Halo Infinite is such, like, you can, you know how they say, like, a needle in a haystack? It's a haystack of needles. And it's trying to, like, subvert around all the problems of that game. Eventually, the small stuff just starts really picking pace, or being a lot more weighted, meaning a lot more than.
It's Pippin.
Hello, Pippin. We're talking about Halo Infinite. What do you think about it?
It probably still exists, right?
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
That's about. Honestly, you could have just summarized. That was the summarization.
Just summed up everything that we were talking about.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, we're talking about how it fell off. Yeah, I'm still looking over the year and I'm like, oh, yeah, Waddicker clips. I started this at the end of last year, was it? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. And honestly, I feel like the best clips we've ever had have been this year. Because like,
yeah, there's been some really great clips.
I think most of them, like, I have like best clips right here, and I feel like most of them have been from this year. Like most of the really good ones. And
play Boom. Play Boom for everyone at home.
Play Boom. He's picking up shit now. You can't do that. That's my thing. Oh, this is a bad idea. I love it.
I love it.
I love that clip too.
I think was your best clip this year.
It's better on Twitter when it loops, honestly. But
yeah,
I mean, you can get it to loop on YouTube. If you don't know, you can get stuff to loop where you just do that. Oh, this is a bad idea. I love it. He's picking up shit now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so good. Yeah, I think a lot of the clips this year have been really great. Like the Among Us ones. Oh my god.
I still have to admit, one of my favorite clips from this year is "If you're French and you know it, shoot your gun."
Yeah, the most recent one.
If you're French and you know it, shoot your gun. They've been finally embracing it instead of denying it.
God, it's a really good clip.
I love how like the gunshot like sounds like it's like 2 kilometers away.
Yeah, like Whippin just felt it in their bones. They felt the statement.
Viewers at home, this is how you can find French people.
Yep, I don't really say that. If you're French and you know it, clap your hands.
It's just a ping. It's a ping.
Yeah.
I know
It's
where
like-
to find an American person.
It's the
Robin.
But it's kind of like the shooting indicator in Fortnite, where you see on like the radius.
Yeah.
Then late into the year, I started Waddicker TV, which was 2 months ago. So like October, November. I do plan to do more of these. I just editing them is such a pain in the ass, even for like 2 minutes.
I think this channel is, as it is right now, is a really good showcase of how fickle the YouTube algorithm is. Where your first video has 22,000 views and the channel has 146 subscribers.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
so
most of the
weird to see.
time, it's the shorts that get views, which I've noticed. So I tend to I tend to bundle a short alongside a video now, which I feel is the best way of doing it. And I've been kind of like feeling out how to do it, like filling out what order to do it in, what time frame, like seeing what YouTube likes. And obviously, YouTube loves tutorial videos, clearly, and YouTube loves like showcase videos, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of just
I
like
think using shorts as a little trailer for a video is a pretty good way to go.
yeah, but I think
wanna
making
click
this
on this?
channel was probably one of the smartest decisions for Waddicker, as in like the whole property thing.
Yeah.
Because something I noticed when this video popped off, obviously the Monster Hunter video popped off. A lot of the comments I got were, "My blood, this." You know, your content is great. We like listening to you and we like watching your stuff, but unfortunately, because all of it is like 2 hours long or more, it's very unapproachable. And not to mention because it's all segmented into parts as well. Like if you come onto the channel and you're like Fortnite part 17, like you feel a bit of apprehension. You're like, should I go to 1? Should I go to 2? Should I go to 17? Should I just not care? When for the most part, I would say you don't need to care. But I can't tell everyone that. When you're making content, and this is not just content in quotation marks, like YouTube content, this goes for anything, like art, music, movies, you have to assume that you're not in the room with them. So like a lot of people who are making actual art, they assume that like, oh, people will get it, and especially if like they ask and I tell them, it's like people aren't going to ask. You're not going to be in in every single theater showing the movie to correct people's questions and problems with it, you know?
Yep.
So like I could just say, hey, you know, pick any part you want because it really doesn't matter most of the time. Like you can join in at Monster Hunter whenever, you can join in at Fortnite whenever because it's just Fortnite. There's no story. But like I can't tell people that. But so therefore the first thing people see is Fortnite part 20. They're not going to click on that because, I mean, apparently they will, but people are not going to click on that because, you know, you need to make it the choice immediate. Otherwise, you're just not going to really go anywhere with it, which is why Waddicker TV was a pretty smart decision to make because like a 2-minute video with a really simple premise, a really simple idea, you got time. You can watch that. You can have a look. And just like this style of content in general, this style of videos is a lot more, way more approachable than Fortnite Part 24, which is an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
Like no one's gonna click on that, but people might click on pulling an insane solo clutch in trios.
Which was impressive as hell.
You don't need any context for this one. All the context is there where you need it. But yeah, I think making this channel was pretty smart, and I'm probably going to continue to expand it as we go on. There hasn't been a lot I can make videos about recently. Maybe something interesting happens in Sea of Thieves, or if we play more Fortnite matches, we'll see. But yeah, it's just finding stuff to put on the channel that's kind of the difficult part. But those were like, I think those are like the big changes for Waddicker overall. Was me getting a new PC, putting the VOD quality way up, and then Waddicker TV, which was like turning all of our stuff into watchable, more approachable content. And obviously, Monster Hunter World Without Sharpening popped off, and we're now at 2K, when at the time of the last video, or the last Let's Look Back, we were at, what was it? 900 subs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that Monster Hunter video, something else.
I was working on a Rise
Right.
one, but I never ended up finishing the run, so it's kind of hard to work with. I do have the script finished mostly, except for the part I haven't played. So, I mean, once I do play it, it's going to be pretty quick to come out, I think. It's just a matter of, like, giving a shit to play it again.
Is there any game this year that got more, like a significant amount more views on VODs than other games? Is there any?
I would
any
say,
game that did actually well?
I don't
Frontier,
know.
maybe?
Frontier is absolutely, because it's a niche game that people want to watch.
Yeah, but I think
yeah.
it is one of the higher view ones.
Yeah. Because people actually do want to watch Frontier content, since, well, the game is dead. You can't exactly play it now. And but I think also it helps because having really long content, because most of the content you can see on Frontiers is like 10-minute videos of like single hunts, or like how to best start in Frontier, how to install it, blah, 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 blah. So like I actually fit a niche here of having full, like, from the start content on Frontiers, like stuff that you can watch where we're going through the hub world and like going on multiple hunts, getting resource, like the whole playthrough. There's very rarely stuff for that for Frontier, so it kind of fits a niche, which is why it's getting more views, I'd imagine.
I think
Splatoon.
with a game like this, the stuff that you normally want to edit out can be more interesting, because like all the weapon crafting and whatever, if it's like Monster Hunter Rise, you're not gonna care.
Yeah.
Since you're not gonna play Frontier, it might be interesting to watch that.
Splatoon, I think, was getting like higher than Splatoon was getting like higher than average for quite a while. You know, even still after like a couple. Started dwindling near the end of when we played it, but even then, 11 views. I think overall the channel went up, like the collective average view, because we went from, what was it, like 2 views on average on every VOD to getting some pretty massive chunks.
Yeah, I think it went from around 5 or so to a lot of these have at least more than 10.
Yeah, which is
really
pretty damn good. Yeah, like even look at the string here, like, and this is only going to increase too as time goes on. So I think overall the channel just kind of took a big climb in terms of viewership and people liking it, and then WAD TV kind of emphasizes that even more on pulling people in. Because I mean, making videos and trying to be like a YouTuber streamer, I think the best example for it, and I've said this example a lot of times, is you're casting a fishing line, and how many lines you cast. Like, putting out a video is casting a line, and the more lines you cast, the better chance you get of getting the big fish. To be honest, we already got the big fish, which was this one. But, you know, that's how making videos and streaming works, is you got to cast as many lines as you possibly can. You got to stream for as long as you can, because when you're streaming, you're on the page, and that's a line you're casting, you know?
Yeah, I think shorts are a really weird one in that regard, because your shorts are going to get way more views pretty much automatically. But also, like way fewer people are gonna look at a short and click on your channel after.
Yeah, I find that a
Just
lot
like-
too.
Yeah, it's like you get the really nice view number, but it doesn't really do anything for you. It's just kind of a good number now,
Yeah,
nothing else.
it's definitely good supplementary because I feel like it also keeps your channel from being like put down in the ditch, I suppose you could put it, where it's like you're still giving YouTube things that it wants to chew on, you know?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if you're giving stuff to YouTube that YouTube doesn't want to chew on, you don't go anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
it eventually starts dumping your channel in terms of algorithms. So having like shorts is a good way of saying, hey, chew on this, you know, you'll like this one. And then that does lead into more views for the other things.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a shame that the shorts like don't drive channel engagement much, but still feel sort of mandatory if you want to keep your channel like active.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
What do you think of the year overall, Bip, in terms of like Waddicker, I suppose?
I don't know. I think it was good.
Yeah. I mean, I think it
Trying to
was.
look at the games we played. Look, it's definitely a year where I feel like last year there was more variety between every stream, whereas now there's very clear chunks of now we're playing Dead by Daylight, now we're playing Splatoon.
Yeah. This is what I said at the very beginning as well, that I feel like 2021 was a variety or like a flitty year where we jumped between games constantly and we played a lot more like random games, tried out unique things. And then 2022 was the year of like, we find what we like and we're going to play a ton of it. You know,
Yeah.
like chain games is what I called them. So, or just strains of games. I mean, we did, it was pretty experimental early on, or variety focused, especially like at the very beginning and like halfway through, once we were finished with Monster Hunter. Like here, for example, you can see we were game hopping pretty often, except for when Monster Hunter came in again. Yeah, I think this year was a lot more. Found a game we like and we played a ton of it, especially in the latter half. I think the latter half is like a primo example of this.
Oh, yeah.
Where Fortnite, then Splatoon, then Dead by Daylight, then Darktide, Fortnite. You know?
Yeah.
And that was, what, 6 months? Ish? And Sunbreak.
Yeah.
Don't forget about Sunbreak either, which came in. Yeah, it seems like obviously probably the best year for Waddicker so far in terms of growth and, you know, the stuff we put out. I feel like my
it's only gonna
commentary
get
has
better
gotten
from here.
worse overall. I think. I don't know though. I'm not really the one listening to it on average. But I feel like it's hard to maintain good commentary when everything you've said has already been said before. You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to not like retread or repeat things you've said constantly, and so that's why I feel like my commentary is going a little bit more duller. But
Yeah, I'm like the only real way to keep commentary fresh is by like going over current events. And I don't think people come onto this channel to learn about what's going on with Andrew Tate.
no. I mean, there's a YouTuber which I have the utmost respect for, which is Northern Lion, which is an unbelievable YouTuber. I don't know how they do it. It is absolutely fucking insane. But they have 3,000 episodes of The Binding of Isaac, plus a bajillion other series they do, and they have commentary running constantly, like a non-stop chatterbox of constantly new information, new stories, new things they can tell, new like world events, or even references. Like they really show their knowledge extensively, where they pull out a reference to a movie that came out like 40 years ago with a specific actor and what they were also involved in, and like they go on a long tangent. And I think it's insane how Northern Lion manages to do that. How they after 10 years, they can still keep their commentary that fresh and that exciting and that interesting. Despite, like, constantly talking for years on end. Honestly, I think it probably just kind of comes down to experience and what you've done in real life as well. Like, if you're... Because I'd imagine early on in Northern Lions' life, they were very, like... movie. Not in, like, movies and like a movie, but movies and moving around. Like, doing a lot of things. Moving to different houses, going to different towns, having different experiences, going get the driver's license, and, like... You know, just real life world experience of doing a ton of different things, and eventually they gained like a bajillion different stories they can tell, and there's always something fresh for them to say. Where, as for me, who is 24, and I've kind of said all the stories I can tell as a result. And I can only really tell ones that it's happening right now, which is kind of slow, you know? Unless you're doing a ton of things at the time, there's not really a whole lot to tell. Aside from, yep, it's another day of Fortnite.
Just start making shit up. Just tell lies.
I got my driver's license yesterday. It was actually super cool. Unfortunately, I did run into a few people, but it was fine. They were cool with it.
They asked to go again.
Do I? Oh shit. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to repeat it. Yeah, very interesting year. I would say it's a very slow year in terms of Waddicker. Or at least it felt slow, you know?
Yeah. Slow
Yeah.
burn.
Yeah, like a slow burner year. Where it's
Not
kinda
a ton of new stuff like happened really with me either.
Mm-hmm.
Just because like I quit my job, I got a new job. Oh, I guess I did get my new gaming rig. That was a really big one.
Yeah. That's a pretty big thing to happen.
But I still don't think of that as like on the level of like last year when I did get my driver's license and didn't run anybody over.
And you didn't?
You didn't?
Yeah.
You're wasting your driver's license then.
Yeah. Sorry. I'll work on it.
To admit it, for me, this year has probably been one of the more difficult in my life.
Mm-hmm. What happened?
Just with certain things and try to get work and stuff, and realizing that no one wants to hire you just because of certain things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very tough year for some people. So, anything interesting happened for you, Bipin, this year? Big events?
Not really. No. And then nothing, or at least not much to really talk about. I think the
You
only
finally
big
embraced being
thing,
French? Sorry.
the only big thing I think I did this year was go to a concert once, and that's kind of it.
So not like life-changing or like big events, like getting something new or new job or...
Nah, I'm trying to work on getting a job, but that's work in progress. Beyond that, I've just started cooking and baking more, but that's not really something interesting to tell stories about on stream. So
I mean, that's fine. It's saying like picking up new skills is fine. That's valuable information.
yeah, I mean, you can only really talk about. I baked cookies today; they were fine. So often.
Yeah.
I baked cake today. It was very moist.
I microwaved some mac and cheese today. About as good as the last 40 times.
Micro still works.
Microwaved the mac and cheese today. Left it. Didn't put it in for long enough. It's frozen in the middle still.
That's a classic.
What about you, Buck? You already started with yours, but anything other massive happened to you?
I mean, just the rig, really. My my New Year's resolution for this year was to find a source of happiness, as as much of a mood as that is. And looking back on this year, I would probably say I am happier at the end of this year than I was when I started. So
That's great.
It's good.
I mean, you might not have found the source, but you're zoning in on it.
yeah, I'm starting to figure out what really does make me happy in life.
Hmm.
I still haven't dialed it in fully, but I'm getting there.
Hmm. It does take time to eventually. It's kind of just like anything with yourself. Is just like figuring yourself out and like kind of like how you treat other people, in a sense that like you got to figure out what they like, what they accept, what they're fine with, what what they prefer, and it's interesting to find out what they prefer, and you got to kind of think about it in the same way of yourself, where like you are a person that you are still figuring out the same way that you would anyone else, and it goes for any part of yourself you're still figuring out. I know a couple people IRL who are unsure of their own like sexualities, unsure of their genders, unsure of like where they're going with their life, what they want to do, and that's kind of like just the best thing I can say is that it is a process, that it's a journey that you unfortunately or fortunately have to learn to enjoy, where you're never going to figure yourself out in a day, you're never going to figure yourself out in a year. You just eventually dial in on it in terms of like, again, using the same metaphor, like casting at a fishing line. You're getting closer and closer and closer, and eventually you'll find it. And some people get there sooner than others.
Yeah.
I would probably
Unfortunately,
attribute.
it's easier with other people.
Yeah.
I would
I think other
probably
people have.
sorry.
You can go.
Okay. I would probably attribute a lot of my personal growth this year to a couple of like takeaways and life philosophies that I've sort of gathered this year.
Mhm.
I'm trying to like think of what those actually were, because there was like 3 different philosophies that I learned. The only one I can really remember for sure is that people talk a lot about power and how it inherently corrupts people. I don't think that's entirely true. I think it's power over people that inherently corrupts.
Mhm.
There are other sorts of power, like physical fitness is a form of power that doesn't corrupt people.
Yeah.
And so if you're looking for more control of your life, you need to find forms of power that don't involve having control over other people. It doesn't involve like ascending in work to like a more managerial position. That isn't going to make you more happy.
Mhm.
It's just going to kind of make you a worse person eventually.
Yeah.
Because all systems of power, no matter how benevolent they might seem, are inherently corrupting. They're inherently parasitic. Because they're systems of power. But there are other ways you can improve yourself as a person that will make you happier and won't make anybody else less happy.
Yeah. You can control systems around you that, well, yeah, always like you said, systems that you do have control over or that you can have control over, and like your own physical fitness, cleanliness, and other such stuff like that you can do. But you technically do not have control over people, and you can't, and you probably shouldn't. And you shouldn't be trying to. And like you said, if that is your end, your goal ends up corrupting you in some fashion, like again, like a managerial position or politics and stuff like that, becoming big in that.
Yeah, I think the type of power you really want is just like more a way to gain more self-control and discipline. It's really,
I think
only
power
good
over
power.
yourself is what makes you better. Like being able to
Yeah.
control your thoughts in a sense, and not like a shackle. Don't shackle your thoughts, but being able to parse them better. You know, like
Oh yeah, and that was another that reminds me of another philosophy that I learned this year. And I learned it from Everything Everywhere All at Once. Best movie, by the way, if you haven't
Oh,
watched
yeah.
it.
easily.
Fucking watch it. This is a threat.
This is actually a threat. Watch Everything Everywhere
Yeah.
All at Once. It is a phenomenal. It is my favorite movie ever made. It is so fucking good.
We now
But,
we now want control over other people, so we can make you watch this movie.
Yeah. I don't care if I get corrupted by that power over people. Watch the fucking movie. But anyway, the philosophy. It's not really a philosophy, I guess, but it's that this world in this life very rarely makes any sort of sense. It's chaotic. It's confusing, and there are very, very rarely times where the world just seems like it makes sense.
Yeah.
But those rare moments are the best moments you can have in your entire life. Because when everything makes sense, you can just focus in that moment. You can achieve. People sometimes
Zen.
call it a sense of flow.
Mm-hmm.
But you should always try and get to a point where things just kind of make sense.
Yeah.
And that kind of does bring us back to like the idea of control. But when the world makes sense, all that stress falls away. And you should treasure all of those moments when they happen.
Yeah. I think
That's
that
kind of the core of a coping mechanism, or like an escape. Like many people use video games. It's like, well, if you're playing a video game, everything makes sense. You can just sort of ignore everything you don't have control over and just play your video games or watch your movies or whatever.
I mean, in terms of... Damn, my alarm just came off and made me blank. What was it again? In terms of, things not making sense, understanding what you can and can't have control over and what you should and shouldn't have control over is, like, what I would say one of the keys to happiness in terms of, like, figuring yourself out as well. Because, like you said, the world is chaotic, and trying to control the world, or, like, things that you logically cannot control, is just going to lead you to stress, just going to lead you to problems, to unhappiness, to being sad, to being, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point stressing about stuff that you can't logically control in the world. And therefore, there's no sense in worrying about what doesn't make sense in the world. Because you can't control it, no one can, doesn't matter. I would say, as selfish or egotistical as it sounds, you should honestly just kind of care about yourself and what you can do. And obviously other people in your life as well, you should care about them. But I mean, in terms of like bettering yourself, looking more
Self-care is as important as empathy.
people say it a lot, but like looking inward is the solution to a lot of problems in life rather than outward. Trying to fix what's inside rather than trying to fix what's outside.
Sometimes asking yourself, are you the problem, can be more
Or
mind clearing than anything else.
or can you fix the problem?
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this at the end of last year too, but that's something that oddly enough fighting games really helped me with, is immediately going to the problem solving mindset very quickly. Instead of being like, I am really frustrated with this thing, I'm just going to be mad, I'm going to get angry and I'm going to get upset. Instead, I'm like, I don't like this thing. How do I fix it? Like, is there anything I can do to make it better? Immediately jumping to that mindset.
through the lens of problems and solutions.
Yeah. Logically, looking at problems or like aspects of life logically, where it's like, I don't like that my desk is messy right now. Can I fix it? Of course I can. I can obviously fix it.
Nah. A messy desk is the mark of a true gamer. You don't want to get rid of that.
But it's a good example of just how to get better and how to improve and how life can go. But I'm glad that looking back around, I'm glad that you've at least somewhat achieved your New Year's resolution. There is a bunch of things that I'm currently doing which I don't want to speak about at the moment because I'm mostly just waiting. Like, I'm kind of like, when I do eventually want to talk about it, I want to hit a home run. I want to be completely sure of myself, so I don't want to actually, jump the gun and start saying stuff or start like tackling that problem with everyone else. Is what I mean. Where I kind of just want to like just get there myself first and then be sure about it. It's nothing bad. It's not like I'm gonna announce that I have like a physical problem or whatever. But you know what I mean. Where it's like there's something I've been doing over the course of the past 6 months, 5 months or so that I want to work on, and I'm still working on, and eventually, probably close to the start of 2023, I'm going to be open about it, and I'm going to talk about it more, and I'm going to go all in on it. But as it stands, I'm just keeping it to myself. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Although for me, it's not as much as that I don't want to spoil anything. I just don't like talking about myself or or anything like that, so I just ignore it. It's
also,
very healthy, I know.
I will be right back. I have to attend New Year.
Oh yeah, and Happy New Year for you.
Yeah,
and
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah. For me, I've been trying to work on stuff, but it's like I don't like talking about myself in that sense. The only annoying thing is that I'm pretty good at recognizing like bad behaviors and problems and stuff I have, but I'm fucking terrible at actually doing anything about it.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
I used to be very much the same. I used to tell freaking tall tales and lies that used to get me in trouble. I used to be incredibly bad at that, and I'm not as bad as I used to be at it. And I do notice it every now and then that I need to stop this. This is gonna freaking hurt people as well as myself. So I'm trying, and I do keep trying every now and then, to bring myself back to, telling truths and stuff. Which is why there was that one time in the Fortnite video I mentioned, whenever I tell the truth, you guys are surprisingly amazed. But then we'll get to a point where probably I'm just going to be telling nothing but truths and trying to be on my best behavior and everything with the stuff. Trying not to put false hope in people. It can be horrible. And there are the fireworks.
Yeah, when I joined the stream earlier, I couldn't hear you all very well because the fireworks outside my house were so loud. It's actually insane.
It's only 4 p.m. right here right now, but I can imagine in about 4 more hours the fire marshal is going to be having a bit of a field day.
Over here, that this shit has been going on all day long already. It's so annoying because both my dogs are scared of fireworks, and like if it's just like an hour before and an hour after midnight, that's fine. But the entire day long, actually, like for fucking weeks already, every day there's been some fireworks going off. And it's always around the time I walk my dogs. It's really frustrating. But yeah.
Especially if somebody's like watching and like, oh, the dogs are out, go for it.
Sometimes feels like it. Yeah, it's not the biggest fan of fireworks.
I've never have been myself either.
It's like, I think they look cool, and if there's a fireworks show outside my window, I might watch it. But I would not mind at all if they're just gone. They just ban them outright. Wouldn't miss it at all.
Yeah.
Also, the people across my street have like some weird party setup going on, and I noticed they have like some laser lights going.
Mm.
And I was walking to the bathroom, and through the one window we don't have covered right now, it's just like if I had epilepsy, I'd be dead. Just constantly, rapidly flashing lights. That shit isn't smart. Stop that.
I know. This year, as I said, it has been difficult. A very difficult year for my whole family, to admit it.
Mm.
And I'm not just talking about me, my mom, my dad. I mean, everybody in the family. Yeah. We lost my gran this year.
Mm.
And it was to stomach cancer. Freaking same thing that my gran did.
Mm.
But through the year, I've met some very good people. Well, as well as Waddy and Waddy and their mother. Let me clear my mind quite a bit.
Mm. That's good.
I did start volunteering as well.
Hmm.
Voluntary work with a place known as the Vinery.
Losing people isn't easy.
Yeah.
Well, so lost Max this year as well to cancer as well. That's my dog, if you're wondering.
Yeah, the fact that you just said a name, I assumed it was a pet.
Lost Max this year as well to cancer as well. But
Yeah.
his wasn't just localized cancer, his was his entire body.
Yeah, it's.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I always feel a little extra bad for pets in that situation because they can't even understand what's happening. You know.
Yeah.
It seems miserable.
From what my dad said, he did actually understand, which makes it all the worse.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shit situation regardless. Nothing, no amount of understanding is gonna make it that much better.
Unfortunately,
back.
no more animals.
Yeah. Welcome back, Wad.
Welcome back.
What have you been discussing?
Just opening up a little more about how the year went. Just saying how, even through all the loss that I had, I did meet good people this year. Like really good people this year. It went on about how you and your ma did help.
Yeah.
I cleared my mind. And how I've started volunteering for work and stuff. Even if I'm not finding a proper job, I'm still getting something.
I was gonna mention my New Year's resolution last year, but I think it was just like being closer to the me that I want to be. It wasn't get views. Well, I mean, get views is a part of the better me I want to be, I suppose. Like
Big number, better person.
It's true.
Big number, better person. It's how it is. But yeah, I think for me it was just being a better version of me than last year, which I feel is just an overall a good New Year's resolution to usually go with, since it's something simple, something non-specific that you can usually do, you know? But I think this year I made more of a leap than I think I've done in the past several years total. So I think I've done better in that regard. So I think I've achieved my New Year's resolution. I think it's going to be the same this year as well, where I just want to, or I guess this time it's kind of like be the, not like true, I guess, but true me. Be like the full extent of me that I can be, rather than like just guiding towards it. Yeah. Being, or like, yeah, just being me, who I want to be.
Yeah, it's pretty standard, pretty good one.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty general. Yeah, I would tell mine, but I don't actually do New Year's resolutions because I'm not gonna do it anyway. For me, anything like that just feels like a deadline, and whenever I need to do something with a deadline, I will put it off until the last moment. And with New Year's resolutions, you can't really do that because it's not something you can do in a week generally. So
Yeah.
I don't do them.
I liked CGP Gray's video on New Year themes, where you just, instead of having a New Year's resolution, you just have an overall theme, which is kind of what I've been doing over the past couple years, where it's just something you can do just over time. As in, they said one of their examples, I think, was like a year of, instead of like vowing to lose more weight if you're overweight, instead you should be like a year of being healthy or being healthier. So you start to make more like smaller decisions, like you don't have an extra chocolate bar, you don't have an extra snack, you don't, you go and be a bit more fit, you go out and do a little more exercise, just small little things every now and then that are not really very specific, but you can do them just in the moment.
Yeah.
An overall theme just kind of works in that way.
Yeah, for me, I also kind of just don't think about the future much at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another reason I don't really do New Year's resolutions. For example, with like a weight loss resolution, I'm not gonna do that specifically. And like right now, I have some meds that have as a side effect killed my like desire for food. Partially. So I'm not really snacking much anymore, and I'm mostly drinking water now. So I'm probably losing weight, but I haven't stepped on a scale in literal years, so I have no idea, and I don't even really want to know.
Yeah, even when I'm losing weight or purposely trying to, I don't use scales. I hate scales. I hate like really defined metrics, because like you just get bummed out when that happens.
But the funny thing, it's been proven some scales deliberately lie.
Yeah. But I mean, I also think, for me at least, I think if I were to try, like, for me now it's kind of a passive thing, but if I want to actually like try to lose weight and I use a scale, I'm just gonna like spend 2 weeks doing it and then be like, damn, this doesn't progress fast at all, and then get bummed out and stop.
Yeah. Even though weight loss takes 6 weeks to kick in.
Yeah.
With me, it'd be like, I tried it for the 6 weeks, it says I've gained weight. Like, this is going out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I just don't bother with, like when I'm losing weight, I just don't bother with the scale system. If anything, I maybe buy clothes that are smaller than I can fit in. And then, like every few months, try and go in them, and see how it matches up.
That's actually probably a really good way of doing that.
Yeah, because I've already found tons and tons of progress where there's stuff that I genuinely couldn't fit in before. Now I can wear pretty much, fully, just as like a good example.
I'm sort of doing that because I bought some clothes online on like multiple sizes. And I didn't bother sending the ones that were too small back because it was a hassle.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have them like still packaged on my floor. So it's like, yeah, maybe I'll fit in them in the future soon. I'll keep them.
But I find that to be a much like better way of doing it than scales, because scales are like arbitrary numbers tell you nothing. The same way that looking like at arbitrary numbers in like code or whatever tells you nothing, or the numbers in Monster Hunter stats tells you nothing.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't matter when you have like perfectly good physical examples you can use, which is why I use the clothing method, where I just buy clothes that I'm too small for, which I eventually want to be able to fit in, and I just use that as a basis where every few months I try them on, see if I'm smaller, and you get a lot more of a nice feeling about that as well, because with the stuff that I couldn't fit in before but I can fit in now, it feels so much better than reading, like, was it 190 to fucking 150 on a scale?
Mhm.
You know, it feels so much better than just reading numbers on a scale, because then like you're actually seeing physical changes, and that's how I've kind of done it too, where instead of focusing on numbers and sizes and stuff like that, I just look in the mirror and I think, am I where I want to be right now? And if I'm not, then it means I have work to do. Like there's something for me to do. I can still go further. And that's how I determine it, where, you know, there's no point in gushing over numbers or stuff like that when what really matters is what you see, you know?
Yeah. I feel like the skill also only really works if you have a specific weight goal you want to work towards.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think that's only really valuable if it has like a specific medical reason. If your doctor is like, hey, you need to hit this weight,
Mhm.
then it's fine. But otherwise, I feel like if you set that that like goal for yourself, as soon as you hit it, you're like, oh, good, I finally hit it, and
Mhm.
you seriously risk just stopping
Yeah.
and just going the opposite way again, because
That
well,
is,
I've done what I wanted to do.
that is the problem as well, which is why I say that look at yourself in the mirror and decide if you know, decide if you, what would it be? Yeah, just look at yourself in the mirror and decide if you're happy with what you see. And if you're not, then,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
go more towards where you want to be then. It means you still have stuff to do, it means you can carry on. You don't need to worry about numbers, don't need to worry about like anything like that. It's just pure visual and like your own taste and like, you know, your own opinions.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's a good way to approach just like mental stuff as well. Where like, if you are where you want to be mentally, and if you're not, then like if you look inside and you're not, then you can start moving more towards that. You kind of get like a basis of what you need to fix or zone in on.
Yeah. That's kind of. I have a hard time giving myself credit for anything, so I have a hard time with that stuff in general.
Mm-hmm.
I always like downplay anything I do for myself. I'm like, because even I have this weird thing where if there's something I'm like really anxious about, super nervous beforehand, and it's kind of a big deal. As soon as it's happening and it's over, it's almost never. It'll almost like feel like less of a big deal as it's happening, and then I'm like, okay, well, it was nothing, and I just pretend it wasn't ever anything in the first place. It's a very weird way my brain works.
I've noticed that too with I was talking to Mistake about this a few days ago, because Mistake mentioned that the years are starting to feel faster and faster and faster, and I was like, yeah, it gets like that for like a logical reason, where like each new year becomes a smaller and smaller part of your life, technically.
Yeah.
It gets more and more fractured. Like for me, a year is 124, and then next year it's going to be 125, and then 126, but when you're like a baby who's 1 year old, that 1 year is your whole life, and that feels like an eternity. I mean, I don't imagine it would, because you're not really like fully conscious then, but like it would feel like an eternity. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, that's why your childhood feels like massive, because that was just like, at the time, that was a majority of your life.
Yeah.
And time works.
Also, you know how we said at the very beginning, speaking of time dilation, you know how we said at the very beginning that this would be like 30 minutes? It's been 2 hours.
Yeah, it's been 2 hours. But one of the more specific things I was talking about with Mistake about it is time is meaningless after the fact, which is a very frustrating thing about time, which I really hate, is after time has been finished, or after you've spent all that time doing something, like if you're waiting for something to arrive, if you're waiting for like a parcel, or you're waiting for a bus or a ride, all that time feels ginormous when you're in it. But after it's done, it collapses into nothing. It's literally nothing.
Yeah.
You don't feel anything about it, which is a very frustrating part of time, because why I wish that time had some sort of weight. And the example I use is that me and a friend went into a local theater to watch a movie, and we missed the bus on the way home. And we had to wait an extra 2 hours for another bus to arrive before we could start going home. That 2 hours felt ginormous when we were doing it. When we were just sitting there, we had to wait for a bus for 2 hours in like the worst place of all time. It was so cold, worst seats ever, because it's a bus station. But then once you're on the bus and you're like, or you get home, you're like, oh, that it literally like doesn't even feel like a blip. It's not even like a blink. It just doesn't exist. That time didn't happen.
And you can't
like
get those 2 hours back.
Mm-hmm. But
it's like the phrase, "I watched egg never boils."
Mm-hmm. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, the future feels infinite sometimes. Like really, really long. Like, for example, 2024 right now feels more than a year's worth away. It feels like 5 years, 10 years away, right? By the time we get there, I mean, just look at us right now. 2022 was or 2021 was a year ago. So like the future time is like, or the future feels infinite, but the past feels nothing, which is such a very like weird kind of concept to wrap your head around in terms of just how it feels.
Yeah, like you only really remember the things you did in a specific time frame, not really how long it took or how that time felt. So if you're like waiting for something and you're not really doing anything in that time, it's you didn't do anything, so there's nothing to really remember. Which is why if you have a lot of free time or whatever, the weeks and years suddenly go by super fast.
That's why I love streaming as well, because you get a very like tangible course of the past, you know? That's one of the reasons I've always loved streaming, and why I have everything backlogged for years, because I just love having that time capsule where like the past, not that I'm concerned that the past didn't happen, but it's more like I can get a taste of what it was back then as well, and that I always have something to like, I can always see what we were doing back then, you know, and that makes it a lot easier to imagine how it felt as well, which is why streaming feels, or which is why I just really like streaming and backing it all up, because it's just such a nice, memories. It's such a nice way to, because I mean, logically speaking, you could follow 5 years of our lives, like you, me, Bippin, Coco. You could follow 5 years of our lives just on this channel, which is a pretty substantial thing to have, you know.
I mean, in that sense, it's basically just a fancy picture album.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what the VOD channel is in a sense. I mean, going over it right now, it is just a picture album, isn't it? Like,
I can't say one thing for this year. Technically, this is the proper first year I have gotten to play with you a lot properly. Because you know, crossplay being a thing.
Yeah,
I've always been one watching, and I've always lurked in the shadows. I may not speak much, but
yeah,
I've been there.
Lurking in the shadows.
A lurker.
Yeah, I think. Well, I guess moving on to like a secondary topic. What do you think about like 2022 for games?
Oh,
It seemed kind of slow. Like we didn't have a lot of really good releases in 2022, except for Elden Ring, and it's Elden Ring. What what do you expect?
Yeah.
I would get Choo Choo Charles in there, but well.
I think for 2022 in games, you just have to look at the Game Awards, or it's like, okay, so you have Elden Ring and God of War, and the rest doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
That's kind of it.
I kind of agree. I feel like this year was very slow for games, And all like the big ones, like the one on screen right now, which is Redout 2 for me. Like all the big ones are like ones you could brush aside. Like they're not big. They're kind of like small releases, like again, kind of Sunbreak, Redout 2, Choo Choo Charles, and like DNF Duel on screen. Part 1 never did a part 2. But you know what I mean. It's all like either small or medium-sized games that kind of took the spotlight, and it's a very weird because most of the time we get a bunch of really big games that take the spotlight for a while.
One thing that has been prevalent this year is disappointments. To admit it with gaming.
I wouldn't say so. For me.
One big disappointment for me was the new Saints Row.
Mm-hmm.
That just it wasn't a Saints Row game.
I guess even like the disappointments or like the games that were not that good were never really like big blips on radars. It's not like we got another Cyberpunk, you know?
Speaking of, that really did improve this year. And
there is a game,
the Cyberpunk game thing on Netflix. I can't remember its name off by heart. Was really good.
Isn't there one game out right now that's really disappointing people? I kind of forgot about it.
Overwatch 2?
Aside from Overwatch, like, see what I mean? Like, it's so easy to forget about so many of the games that were just not that impressive, and it's hard to figure out games that were more than impressive, I guess, in terms of 2022. Yeah, I would agree. I would say it's pretty slow, or it was a pretty slow year, and I think the VOD channel also does represent that, considering most of it is stuff that's been released previously that we played.
And a lot of the stuff that was kind of new also didn't exist long for streams, just a couple. Also, Splatoon did happen, which is big-ish.
Memes were good this year.
The Splatoon was a big one that was which was good and stayed around. Yeah, 2022 for gaming as a whole was a very slow year. I would agree.
I mean, you say that, but we have Goku and Vi from Arcane in the same thumbnail.
True. What about anything else interesting about gaming 2020? 2022?
I'm kind of.
I mean, I'd love to talk about gaming in 2020. We did so much of it.
I wonder. Like, I know a lot of people. Whenever a bad game releases, people are still kind of saying, well, you know, a lot of development was in the COVID period. And I wonder, I sort of don't really like that as an excuse very much, but I do wonder how much or how long games that have been released or as partially developed during the COVID period will have some sort of consequences from that. Because realistically, like, any game that sort of is early in development in that period, it's going to come out in the next year or 2 years or so. There might still be a lingering effect from that on games.
I think 2025 is when we're gonna start seeing games not affected by COVID more.
Yeah.
I'm a little.
I wish I shared your optimism. I think.
I mean,
I think
it's likely.
I agree with you, Wad, but I'm a little afraid for that far in the future of games, because if the big companies get their way, games are going to cost at least $70 by then, or €70. Yeah. There's going to be more monetization and shit, and it's going to be real annoying.
Yeah. Things are definitely going in a weird, bad direction. I mean,
or we could just continually play
Fortnite.
Well, I mean, Fortnite has monetization, but you know what game doesn't have monetization and a ton of user-generated content? Gary's mod, a mod of Half-Life 2 from 2006.
You know what else? Doesn't have? Does have monetization, but it's also quite a good game and sponsored many people in the past. Raid Shadow Legends. Sorry, I had to throw it in there.
I'm kind of glad that we're reaching a good point with monetization, though. It's unfortunately still pretty like beyond what we wish it was, like 5 years ago. But I don't really mind the Fortnite monetization. In fact, I think Fortnite does it really well. Like, of offering content to people that people want, that people actually like, and there's enough of it to go around that, like, it appeals to everyone in some capacity, and it's all cheap enough to work with, and it's all, like, nice enough to buy, and, like, most games when they have monetization, like, let's just say Darktide, or I don't know.
Overwatch 2.
Yeah. When you have monetization in those games, or Halo Infinite, God forbid Halo Infinite, it's like, you get the currency from one thing, you have to buy money, or buy it with money, and then you purchase it. Thanks for this sub, Coco. Yeah, you buy it with something, or with real money, and that's it. That's how you get the cosmetic, and it's the one cosmetic in the store, and that's it. Or like the one that you're interested in among like the 30 of total that you can buy. That type of monetization is really, really bad and really annoying to deal with. But in terms of like, Fortnite is a good example of where I think it's done really well, where just like the amount of content and the amount of sources that you can get that content from. Like, you can buy the crew and get like a bunch of V-Bucks among also the Battle Pass, and you can get V-Bucks in the Battle Pass, and then you could spend the money if you wanted to. You can get stuff from challenges. You can, there's so many different ways of getting cosmetics that you want in Fortnite, and there's so many options, and then like the store that resets every day where there's literally hundreds of items to choose from. It feels,
Hello, I'm Fred.
It feels way better than something like Halo Infinite does by miles, This is a really long way of saying I actually do like Fortnite's monetization.
I still think Fortnite is a bit expensive, but I also think that that's not gonna be able to ever change. One thing I really hate about the way monetization is going is that a lot of companies, and I'm looking at Overwatch 2 right now, sort of seem to just be like, okay, this game gets a lot of money, so we're gonna do that. I mean, a part of my big annoyance is people defending it with like shit like, oh, just get a job, but that's beside the point. Like, if you look at Overwatch 2 and you look at a $20 skin, and people might go, well, you can get some Fortnite skins or whatever cost near that. And it's like, yeah, but also in Overwatch, that's one of the characters. You're going to be playing multiple characters in any match. So like, it doesn't fit the game. And also, like, for example, it's still Overwatch and kind of Halo Infinite 2 in this regard. Those are first-person games, so a skin sort of doesn't have as much value because you're not going to see it the entire time.
Yeah.
And again, I still think even Fortnite is a bit too expensive for my tastes, but
I mean,
in Fortnite at least you sort of can just use a skin for an entire match without being like, damn, I gotta switch to a different character now and I don't have a skin for it. And it's third person, so you actually see all of the shit you buy and you put in your character. So yeah, basically I think games, if they wanna have a bunch of monetization in it, they should actually like look at what fits the game instead of just looking at what makes the most money.
Yeah.
But
unfortunately, I think designing
people want money.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think designing a lot of like really beefy cosmetics for a game like Overwatch 2 would also be kind of difficult in like an actually super difficult in a development standpoint, where you have something like 30 heroes you have to develop skins for, all unique, and like if you start pricing them all like, oh well, let's price them what we think they should be at, like £2 a skin, like that's not going to fly in terms of like the cost of labor.
Don't Starve.
That
literally is how much some of the skins are.
Yeah.
I love that game.
Welcome in, Coco.
Yeah,
Coco.
I've been. Oh, don't worry, I've been here for a while.
My one thing that's kind of making me like super pessimistic about in general is that for while I was following a lot of the Overwatch 2 discussion when Overwatch 2 released, I saw a lot of people being like, yeah, the cosmetics are too expensive. They should be like $10. And I'm like, $10 is still way too much for a single skin, for a single hero.
Yeah.
That's still crazy. And the fact that like a general consensus is that is a proper price just like makes me super pessimistic in that regard, because it's never actually gonna get good in that regard. It's just gonna be like, it's a little less expensive now. Also, a small side annoyance with Overwatch specifically, they had a skin in the shop that was supposed to be like a free thing, but instead of giving it away for free, they made it cost 1 coin, and nothing else costs less than 10 coins, which means I now have permanently a coin number ending in 9 because I can't spend single coins. It's really annoying.
That does sound super annoying.
I
They'll bring around
Oh shit!
They'll bring on something that'll cost a singular coin again, and you'll probably get to fix that.
Yeah, but it's like it's gonna take like at least 4 more times of them doing that, and the Overwatch team is not that generous.
They are.
Looking back at all this content, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coco, what do you think of 2022 since you're now here?
What do I think of this year? For me personally, it hasn't really been anything too special. It's kind of been a little shitty, but despite all my personal problems when it comes to people and myself when it came to Twitch, I had a lot of quick growth at the beginning, and I'm still growing at a pretty steady thing, except for this one because no one really wants to watch Guilty Gear streams. But it was fun regardless. Got my ass kicked. I'm proud of the progress everyone has made. You started shouting out your Twitch on other people, and I hope it's helped a little bit. But what did I think of this year overall? It was just all right. It was all the highlights were just spent with friends, and
I feel like you made a lot more progress than you're letting, or than you think you did, or at least from what I can tell.
Probably.
Like the progress on like struggling to commentate, struggling to do streams, and now getting all that worked out and all that going in. And then there's also the personal stuff you were doing, and I feel like you've made a ton of progress with that too. Like a way more than most people. I think you've honestly done more than most of us have this year, I would say.
I second that.
I'm actually asking how, because I'm trying to give myself the benefit of the doubt here, but I don't see it like you do. So please enlighten me.
I feel like your life has changed a lot, at least this past year, from what I can tell.
Yeah, I'd say the highlight of this year, or at least like personally, was probably the HRT.
I mean,
that was something I was insanely happy about.
That is probably one of the big things I'm talking about, is that you moving on to transitioning and doing all that stuff that comes with it, all the struggles, all the physical stuff you have to do, alongside like all the mental stuff you have to do, and then also taking on streaming, taking on learning how to do commentary, taking on how to do all that stuff all at the same time, I think is what I mean when you've done way more than most of us have over the year, because transitioning is a huge thing.
Yeah,
that is a leap. That is a massive leap. I think it's a bigger leap than most of us would take, or most of us have taken in the past year, which is why I think you've done more than all of us here. And I think you're giving yourself you're undermining it. Not that it's a bad thing, kind of.
Yeah, I have been working on trying to actually celebrate achievements of mine. It's still just a little hard to see them though. But holy shit, I think that's the first time I've been red all year. And it came right at the end of the year too.
But yeah, just look at how you were at the start of January, and I think you might be able to see the huge leaps you've done in comparison.
The bravery that you've irradiated, Coco, is just something I wish I could do myself sometimes.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work and a lot of mental fortitude to go through with huge sweeping personal changes to yourself.
Yeah, this was also the year that I finally managed to cut my mother out, so that was lovely. Now, if only I could get away from all of my family.
Yeah, I mean, I do really think you've done massive amounts, more than us, for sure.
I would agree.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little speechless. I don't think I've ever been. I mean, I've had people tell me I've done good, like all the time, and I'm grateful for it. But I've never had anyone put me in such high regard, like ever in my entire life. So it's just a first.
I think in regards to sort of like not giving yourself enough credit, because I do that a lot as well. I feel like if I met someone like a carbon copy of myself who did the exact same things last year, I'd be like, "Oh, you've made good progress. I haven't.
Yeah.
I've done nothing. You've done a lot." It's like it's dumb.
I would do the same too. It's just hard
Yeah.
because you're your own worst critic or best critic, as how Wad likes to put it.
Yeah, you're your own best
But no,
critic.
Yeah, but no, I wouldn't. Despite all the stuff I've said about this year, I wouldn't change a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even all those times I was an accidental shithead.
I mean, whenever you are, it never really goes anywhere bad, though, because people can understand like
Yeah.
mistakes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Just holy shit, so many things this year. But it always is when you think back to an entire year.
Yeah. I love doing these streams now that we've done them twice so far, and we're still doing one. But
Yeah,
because it lets people like have retrospect.
I haven't missed a New Year's stream yet, so that's good.
Mm-hmm. And what about for gaming? What do you think of 2022 for gaming, Coco?
You mean like what do you mean? Like what do I personally just think of gaming, or like the genre and how it's portrayed online or something?
As in, like, what did you think of like this year compared to last year in terms of like how you enjoyed games and like what came out, what you were interested in? Was there anything in particular you?
Well, there wasn't a lot of new stuff that came out that caught my interest, but the streaming made gaming a lot more fun, especially when I had some people to talk to. But it was just fun overall. And this was also the year I got into Animal Crossing. It was the year we got back into Dead by Daylight. I'm kind of surprised we didn't do more Guilty Gear, but I recently started getting back into that. And Melty.
Yeah.
So I think this has been a pretty good year for gaming. I don't know if I've necessarily enjoyed it more than the last, but if I had to guess, I'd say yeah, I think so. Everything kind of just tends to blend together for me. My mind is kind of just turned into a blender. So yeah.
I'm a very like segmented, like put things into boxes person. So for me, I can manage to box Gears in terms of like game quality and like what I thought of them and like progression from people and stuff like that. So I'm able to do that.
I've never exercised my brain that much, so it's kind of everything in there is kind of just goop. I remember the fun times, but I can't remember the year they happen or anything like that because, well, like I said, I don't exercise my brain.
I would say
unless it's like strategies.
I would say for me, this year and last year have been about even, but the year before that, so 3 years ago, 2021-ish, I would say 2020, fucking hell. 2020, I would say, was less fun than 2021, and 2021 was about as fun as 2022 for me. So
2020 was a fucking cesspool.
I mean, for me, I enjoyed it, but that's me and what happened then.
Yeah.
Because I think that's when we got into Monster Hunter, so...
Take a look at your recent games on Steam, and just sort of out of curiosity, just sort of check out which ones you played a fair amount and in what year they came out, because I feel like a good chunk of the games I played a decent amount this year did not come out this year. barring like Elden Ring, of course.
Yeah.
All the games I played definitely did not come out this year. I think everything I played came out like years ago.
I did play.
Bippin and I have been playing Don't Starve Together for the past 3 days, right whenever Bippin wakes up.
Yeah.
And I've been playing Animal Crossing, which came out in like 2019 or something. What else? Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
I think the only game I would play from this year, I'm not sure if it even did come out this year, was Cult of the Lamb.
Came out
that
this
did
year.
come out. Yeah.
I have not played Cult of the Lamb.
It's really good fun. I think you'd like it, Google. It's
Possibly.
adorable. It's adorably bloody.
Possibly. Not
I'm
sure.
Yeah.
I feel like but besides Elden Ring, of course, the most of the games I played that came out this year were like smaller indie-ish games. So not many of the big releases. Because again, I feel like the big releases were Elden Ring and God of War, and I don't really care about God of War all that much. So
Not really much else.
I even tried to watch a God of War playthrough, and I got bored,
Yeah.
and I skipped to the ending.
God of War would probably be a really cool movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't really want
I
it as a
honestly
game.
think they should have just went from video game to movie, and keep it in the same style as the video game, perhaps.
Yeah, all these games are just trying to like tell a story with pre-established characters, and it doesn't really work
I think God of
in
War
a video game format the way it would in a movie.
Yeah, I think God of War would have just been one of those games where it probably is better to play if they cut down on the cutscenes and focused more on the combat system, because the combat system was fun to watch.
Yeah. I mean, surely it's working out considering both the games have been marked as like masterpieces. So I guess for the general consensus, those games are good.
Yeah.
Like, did Red Dead
Damn.
2 come out this year? It was last year, right?
Yeah.
Red Dead 2?
That was last year.
Red Dead 2 was last year.
That's another one of those games that is really popular that I just didn't really give a shit about. But I feel like with God of War sort of gives me the vibe that they hired writers for movies or TV shows to do parts of the story.
They did.
which is fine, but also you do kind of got to remember that you got to write them very differently. It's interesting because Elden Ring hired George R.R. Martin for a part of the story, and I have no idea what he did because the story isn't really told directly. Like, there's a bunch of lore, but it's not really told. So
Yeah, everything
Yeah,
just seems like FromSoft's handiwork,
Yeah.
and not really George R.R. Martin's.
George R.R.
Yeah,
Martin
I'm
apparently
sure-
created the world, like the universe, and they just made like everything connect themselves. You know.
Can we talk about how much like the variety of games played suddenly just drastically changed? It went from stuff like Guilty Gear, Risk of Rain, with like some random niche release in the middle of it, and then it just suddenly turned into a consistent thing of Fortnite and Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, but Biffin came in and said the same thing that I said back at the start of the stream, where 2021 was very like variety focused on games. Like 2021 had a ton of variety, including the start of 2022, and then halfway through 2022, we just ballooned out into games that we enjoyed, and we played them a ton. So lots of Sunbreak, lots of Fortnite, and then we played Splatoon, and then we played Dead by Daylight, and then we played Warhammer, and then Fortnite again. So the second half of the year turned into like just chains of games.
Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, play what we want to play what we enjoy.
Yeah. Oh man, these games. I can't believe. So fun little story. When did Onryo come out? This year?
Onryo. April, I think. It was pretty early, wasn't it?
Yeah. I missed that chapter entirely.
Mm-hmm.
It flew underneath the radar for me. Oh god, we're the fucking lag switch.
This is the old, or this is the original. Let's look back over 2021. Well, we've looked over a couple of clips. We haven't looked over a lot of them. Because kind of starting around here-ish was when 2022 started, and I still got a ton of clips that I need to post as well. All the Among Us stuff. Oh, the start.
We need to get more Among Us clips.
The start of the arc.
God, the only reason that I feel like the only reason that was funny is because I started laughing about it.
Stop chewing on my shit.
Let's go.
Do you hear him
Wait,
crying?
Bippin,
He's whining.
why are you from France?
I don't know why that hit me so hard. Why are you from France?
Why are you
French?
French?
If you're French and you know it, shoot your gun.
Not my fault.
God.
But I
You
saw
just
some
not?
people say that it's really boring.
God, it's been a while since I've seen your Ramlethal in action.
The stage design is
Why
really
did I do
uninspired.
that?
Really hard.
Why did I do that?
With regards to Guilty Gear, I've been meaning to play it a couple times in the past weeks. I've been like, oh, I should play some Guilty Gear, and then I look at my fight stick, and there's just some shit on my fight stick, and I don't want to take it off. So it's like, oh, okay, I'm not playing.
Yeah,
you can just play it with me if you ever decide. Because I played on Tower earlier for my stream, and oh my god, it was fucking nerve-wracking.
Yeah, if I
used
feel
to
like
playing with strangers.
If I feel like playing, I'll let you know.
I do plan to play it again on stream at some point fairly soon because I do want to play more of it. I think I just got fighting gamed out in the second half of the year-ish. What I know. I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
That was
I
just
never really
Can I
got.
bring back herbs, by the way? Because I do have
I
it.
even got the good
Yeah.
one.
Oh, yeah.
You scammed me.
Yeah,
I never
when-
really got tired of it more so than I just wanted to play a lot of Dead by Daylight at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we do need to go back to Dead by Daylight, but way it is right now.
Oh god, the Squidward one. Click the Squidward one.
Like, look at the way the color. Like on the,
Ooh. Yeah,
like
that's
the
really nice.
interaction, the balance between the colors is really nice on a set like this.
That does look really nice, actually. Yeah, before when you were on the teal colors, you were looking at
Yeah.
I love it. Every time I watch it, I think about that a lot.
Bro,
I
it
actually
does
think
look
about
like
this clip a
Squidward.
lot. Yeah, I do actually think about this clip a lot. Oh, and all of them fighting herds ones when we introduced Mistake to it.
Mm-hmm.
And oh wait, hold on. The one with Kai and the servant was pretty funny.
The
I also really like what is playing the long con.
Very bottom second video.
Oh yeah,
this one?
Like
No,
very
one
one below, very bottom, right there.
This one?
Yes, that one. That one was so funny.
What? You hit the child into another child and it killed it? Wow.
I'm the child. I was about to say something really bad.
The child killer?
Deleted sentence.
The child predator.
Don't no, you do. Don't say that.
Oh god, Mistake had a good one there.
It's just Scooby-Doo gameplay.
The Scooby-Doo one.
Yeah, just running back and forth.
I told you
Yeah,
why.
I don't know why that worked for so
Don't
many
take that out of
times.
context. I want to have a job in the future.
Fucking Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I think the long con clip is really funny.
I'm gonna put that in there just to
Oh god, this.
and nade myself. I'm gonna nade myself and then die as the last kill.
That was so good.
Listen, it all
Oh
makes
my
sense when we
God.
get into the next game. It's a long-term strategy.
Apparently there's no real clip for me.
See, watch this. Look.
I forget
come around
how
the corner, I nated
forget
myself
how
there.
witty. I forget how witty Wad can be sometimes, and I love
We
it.
go
I
and
wish
see it,
I could be that witty.
and I
I'm working
die.
on it.
Yeah, this is a really good joke.
By the way, this wasn't the original. This was the temporary title I had of the actual name of the file, and I forgot to change it. Then I just left it.
I like how since it says small fry, there's no caps in it. It
Yeah.
really is
Yeah.
just small fry.
I died.
Oh. Small fry spotted!
That was a bit overkill.
Yeah.
Oh, flood warning. That was a really good one. That was a clip that was just a whole story.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you!
Freaking asshole, man.
Can we see flood warning? That was one of my favorites just because of the story Pippin told.
The pool close to me used to do like I think every like Friday or something they had like this disco swimming, which is just lights out and like colored lights
No
going around,
fellatio.
music blasting. But I remember one time, either during like a disco swimming thing, or during like a Halloween event, I was in the pool and some fat dude just jumped into the pool right on me. It's like actually fucking horrible.
Elden Ring
God,
music
I
starts
need to-
playing.
I need to. I need to go outside more.
It's like the only actual pool story I have is that some dude jumped on me.
There happened to be a tsunami in the Netherlands at that time.
Oh shit!
Flood warning!
Oh fuck! Oh god, that's so good.
I think it's clips like this are kind of funny because if you just look at the gameplay, it's
Yeah.
so weird.
You can
Just
just
watching it
tell
by
we're
ass
not.
speed.
We can just tell we're not going full throttle right now. Oh, the
Yeah.
funniest wall splat, Pog.
Oh, this is brilliant. Wait for
Frank
it.
and
Wait for it.
John.
Prank him, John. The
Frank and
funniest.
John.
Oh, I'm fucking sucking ass, so it doesn't even matter. Okay.
That was the funniest wall spot I've ever seen
that
in my
wasn't
fucking
funny
life.
to me until everyone started laughing. Then I started laughing because laughter made me laugh.
Yeah, it's because it took so long to reach it. Like,
Matter.
like there was
a weird
nothing.
little hop.
I think
Yeah,
it was funny how the Roman cancel just missed entirely.
yeah. Well, the what gets sentenced to 40 seconds of
I'm working
Kezu.
on a really funny idea,
Oh god.
and it's not working out. I was gonna put up the wall when Sinogre was on my side and Kazu on yours, so I got to fight one monster and you got stuck with Kazu.
No, don't put me back. You actually managed it, by the way. You managed it. You fucking bitch. The plan.
Oh my god. You got stuck with it.
You know, the funny
broken
thing
cock.
was, I had clipped that, and my cursor was floating over the clip button as soon as Bippin announced that plan, because I knew it was going to happen eventually.
You could just feel it.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
like, this is content. This is gonna be content.
Who just shot in their car? Yeah, you did. That was not good.
Oh, because you took a shit.
Don't shit and drive.
Alright, wait, broken cock is right twice a day.
God. Listen, a broken clock is right twice a day.
God, it feels so weird to see May on screen.
A broken cock is right twice a day.
A broken cock is hard twice a day.
That's the one I was. That's what I was thinking of after.
Says Soul as he goes limp. God, my mic is
Jacko,
terrible.
it's time, quick!
You only last 10 seconds!
Jacko, come on, 10 frames!
You got a nut in 10 frames, husband, come on! Fuck. Oh, balls.
this
dipping my
one.
balls
Damn,
in
you
the
got
water
real
at the
close.
golf
Actually.
course.
If it had gone a bit more.
Oh, yeah!
Good.
Oh, that
This
would have
is
been so
interesting.
good. Oh, this one is just how straight can you be? Not very, judging by our balls.
Dude, do the balls in the water at the golf course.
Didn't the devs like that on Twitter? The balls
Yeah,
in
they
the water?
did. The devs did like this one.
It's so good.
Oh, I fucking plumped
man.
in the water. Dipped my balls in the water.
Me doing my balls in the water at the golf course.
I'm so glad I closed my windows before we played this.
Oh my god, all these golf clips were good though. And do the other one. Bippin dies.
Which
That
one?
That one. The sucking balls. Sucking balls. That's what it's called.
That is actually a bit more of a German ball.
That's a
I
B
like
ball.
this one.
Yo,
I
you
like
could
this one
have
just
ball.
because you can see Bippin like reel his head back from laughter.
Yeah.
and
You have a ball sucking ray?
that fucking kills.
Yeah.
That hits different.
Me sucking balls.
The humor in these clips is just it's so like low hanging fruit, but for
Yeah.
some reason it just works.
I mean, you see it's working.
Yeah, we just on Waddicker we do like really low hanging fruit, but we like lean into it really hard that we know that's not fucking funny, but it's so funny.
No, it's very funny.
Yeah,
It
it's
also
like
really depends on the game.
yeah,
Honestly,
something
even if
like
you
golf,
didn't lean so hard into
or-
it, it would still be funny
mm,
for me.
yeah, it does depend on the game. Like if we made a ball joke in another game that wasn't golf, it wouldn't be anywhere near as funny.
Hey,
I mean,
golf, the
even-
rich person sport, ball jokes.
I think with like mini golf, it's also just it's a casual game. You're not really doing much the entire time, so you're just sort of talking shit while it's happening.
God, I wish. I so wish I had this game when my VR headset still worked. See, just head reels back.
We thought
the
golf would
easiest
be
thing
the
to
game
make
to make us the
entertaining.
most childish yet.
Oh, it's so good.
This game.
Wad, stop killing civilians. Listen, some habits you can't break.
Ooh. Somehow, I like how that was it.
I think the funny part was like you acknowledged somebody said that and you were just like listen, and then you were quiet for like 10
Oh, wait.
seconds.
Yeah,
The fair and balanced 6p.
yeah.
God, I have PTSD thinking about that 6p.
That's
What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm about to head over.
What about
Oh.
when you get too into killing your friends? Die a painful death.
Right, well,
Anytime he does.
We'll see you later,
been
Kieran.
great.
Then.
It's been brilliant.
See ya. Good having ya.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Anytime he does that overhead,
Whenever
it's
it
the
gets
perfect
here.
time to Mortabato.
Oh, what the damage! Oh,
You know,
die a
provided you don't
painful
get
death.
I love how that final attack just synced at the start of
Friendly
death.
fight here, everyone.
That felt so. Yeah, that
Oh,
felt so
die a-
insulting. Like that one time you went, yeah. Adam."
God,
Yeah.
so many really great clips this year.
Oh, mistake was ejected. The Among Us clips. Let's watch those. Like all of them.
No, no, please, please.
Terrible choice of disguise, by the way.
Fuck, no, no, please.
I just had such chaotic evil energy this stream that like was like immediately assumed it was me.
Yeah,
Terrible choice of disguise. I don't think anyone would actually believe that was me.
yeah. I I love think this it's one either so much.
Oh
Speedy or it's Mistake
my God,
because
yes.
Mistake wasn't here for a majority of
How
it.
to create chaos in one easy step. It's not me.
Alright, well I've been summoned, so I need to leave now. So
No, it's fine,
I'll
no, it's
see you
fine.
later.
No, it's fine.
Okay,
See you
it's
later. It's fine.
Let's go to the report button.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's
no,
go to the
no,
report
it's fine.
button.
No, we can just leave it. It's fine.
Hey Speedy, give me a hug.
I can't.
Okay. There you go. I don't have arms, so that's about the best I can do.
What about a hug with a knife? Can you do a hug with a knife?
My last.
Okay. Bippin, why did you kill Bippin? Why did you kill Buck right in front of me?
Waddy.
No, it was
saw
Bippin.
Waddy do it.
I saw Bippin kill Buck.
I don't know.
Right-
I don't know.
Bippin-
I saw Waddy.
Bippin literally just killed Buck right now.
Oh god, I still can't believe that's how it worked out.
Yeah.
Okay, the mistake, well, that backfired. We didn't watch that
What?
one
Nobody's
yet.
tailing me.
Some people seem to. Oh, sorry.
I'm just trying to think about who I can vote for that's going to like add more content.
Vote for me.
Wad,
Vote for me. You'll get more content.
No, that is less content because then I don't get to
Vote for
get to
yourself.
talk
No,
anymore.
I get more content. I'm the better streamer.
Okay, let's vote for
Okay,
mistake.
then I'll vote for you.
Oh, dog pile.
No! No! I hate all of
This
you.
entire
You all
round, I
die.
was sweating bullets because I was the imposter, and like I was just like
Don't worry,
I
I'll
was
actually die. Just give me a minute.
I was just trying to act, and I wasn't doing a good job.
That dog pile was so funny. This is why you don't talk shit and open your mouth. Yes, this one.
Huh? What the fuck?
I've never seen a mirror be so terrifying. And
I mean,
mean,
they're pretty terrifying in real life.
In retrospect, what were you expecting to happen?
I thought they would be like mines, you know?
what
assumed that
what did you think about the mirror?
I just thought that they would be like mine things, where like they would only activate when you get moderately close.
But
Like
then
a-
you got moderately close.
I didn't get I got like not moderately close.
The thing just decided to go.
Yeah, like. What the fuck? They just and they
honestly-
both rush too.
That's not what I would expect from the mirror. I would expect a monster to stare at you from inside the mirror,
Hmm.
or a demon, and then just suddenly be behind you.
God, this year was so good for clips.
The mistake one, yeah, that one.
Where's John? Right here.
I hate you.
Oh, I hate you.
I hate you.
If you're French and you know it, did we watch that one?
We did before.
Okay.
Yeah, this year was really good for clips.
Oh, Soul's weakness.
That was last year though, but yeah.
It's still funny. Yeah. Oh God.
Oh well. Any plans for 2023? Aside from keeping on?
Be slightly
Didn't I-
happier.
Didn't I do
Yes.
that fan art for you this year, or was it last year?
I think it was this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it in the thumbnail on the very left if you scroll down.
Yeah.
Right there.
It was this year.
Oh God. I still have that in my computer, but somehow I forgot that I made it.
Hmm.
Potemkin was not fun to draw, I will say. Plans for this year? I don't know, just keep doing what I'm doing until I get somewhere. In
Yeah.
terms of getting away from family.
I have a lot of plans for 2023, but we'll see when those happen. I don't know.
Well, any you can bring up right now?
No, aside from like just keeping on with the Waddicker stuff and also Wad TV as well, doing more on that.
Yeah. Man, I will say though, it's so fucking sad that the Fortnite My Hero characters look a lot better than the ones just this ones.
I know, right?
How do you fuck up so bad?
But yeah, mostly just continuing on. Things will go as per normal, streaming almost every day. How many streams did we reach? In let's see, playlists.
God, you're so fucking organized.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I mean. I organize a lot.
Hell, every time I do something cool, maybe I should actually just start writing it down.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Yeah, 2022 collection. Less than 2021, but still quite a lot. I'm glad I have these actually, because they're
Still a very productive
Mm-hmm.
year
Damn, it's a lot.
of content.
Right? I guess that was 2022, and we'll do another one of these at the end of 2023 as per usual. Now we'll just do some let's look back at videos. It was fun. Anything else?
Man,
Any
already
of you,
thinking about the end of 2023 is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Either of you want to say for 2022?
I mean, it's been a pleasure being here, even though I kind of disappeared in the second half of this year. Never stopped. It's just
I mean, no,
never
you
stopped
were here.
wanting to be here. It was just things.
You were
going
here
on.
with most of Dead by Daylight. So
Yeah, it's really fun. Oh yeah, and I gotta say, really been loving the content over on Waddicker TV.
thank you.
Yeah, as much as I don't want to play Fortnite, I do enjoy watching it.
Mm.
Oh my god, fucking multiverses! I forgot that existed.
What about you, Buck? Anything to finish off 2022?
See, for like the past 2 minutes, I've been trying to think about something funny to say here. Like, I don't have anything.
I don't have anything funny, so allow me to just say, hey, fuck it. Let's try.
It's hard. Okay, fine. I'll just recycle a joke that I said in the H3 VR server. I can't believe it's been 101 years since the Ruger 1022 was released.
The Ruger 10?
Yeah, the Ruger 1022. It's been 1001 years.
I get it. Oh my god.
Oh fuck! I'd said 101 in the H3. Yeah, I fucked up.
You fucked up the
God
joke.
damn it. Yep.
I hope
You know
that
what? You know what? Actually, that's perfect. It's totally in character.
I hope that
Part and parcel
2022
to me as a person.
I hope that 2023 is a bit more akin to 2021 actually, where there's like a lot of like goofy little one games we play as opposed to like chains. I don't mind chains of games because those are really fun. But I want to see some more stuff, and it's not like I could go out of my way to do it, but I don't really want to. You know, can I just let the year progress as it would? Because either is fine. But I'm hoping it's more like 2021 maybe. I'd like to see it be like 2021 where we do a lot of experimental stuff.
Right?
2021 was like was wacky.
Man.
Also, I finally want to do a second season of Take It Hold It Mod It in 2023.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were planning to do that, and it's just been a while.
Yeah. Main problem being couldn't find art. But I'll hopefully get a second season out by then, and I do have a better PC, so it'll look better, sound better.
What did you need for art?
Something akin to the thumbnail, like drawing of Jubei.
Yeah, there was that one that I tried to do, but like my art style isn't there. Like it's.
I'll keep it in mind.
Yeah, but we'll see when 2020. I haven't done a lot of it. I think I've done like basically no H3 this year anyway. So I just haven't been like in
it
a.
kind of just disappeared.
Yeah, I haven't been really in like a VR kick in the past few dozen months, and same reason I haven't really been in a fighting game kick after here. After here, I'm like I wasn't really into playing fighting games that much. I mean, honestly, the entire last 4 months of the year has been chain games. That's where like the main chains came in.
Speaking of fighting games, after we're done with this, you want to play some Kill a Kill?
Oh, I'm probably gonna stream some Sea of Thieves after this.
Oh, okay. Well, we can wait till after the stream then. Because honestly,
I'm trying not to make the joke. I'm trying not to make the joke.
I still have no job, so might as well take advantage of all the free time.
But yeah, we do gotta play it at some point soon. But hey, that was
we gotta finish getting the footage.
That was 2022. I suppose I'll wrap on that. It's now 2023 for me. And
it will be in a few hours for me.
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel to be in the future?
Oh, okay, middling. Very middling
Very
so
okay.
far. But oh well.
I'll catch up to you here in a minute. My time machine's recharging.
Well, I'll go and send off the stream then, or at least this section, and then I'll stream some Sea of Thieves. Anything you want to say before we go? Either of you?
Well, thank you for all the kind words said to me, because I never could have come to that conclusion on my own. And thank you for a great year. Because this, like Waddicker, the whole Waddicker channel, the community, it was a huge part of. Honestly, it was a huge part of all my years since 2019. So, I'm very grateful to have what I have. To know the people that I know, and I can't wait for another year of it.
I would probably just say, watch everything everywhere all at once.
Yeah.
Go back,
and
if you're new, go back and watch all the streams from this year.
Sure, let's go with that. What what I was gonna say is, last year when we did this, we were just shy of 1,000 subs. We're at, what, 918 subs?
Yeah.
We are over 2,000 subs here. So I want to say thanks for being here with us. And maybe next year we'll be at like 3,500 if this trend continues.
Yeah.
So
Maybe we'll do karaoke.
Let's try and get there.
Actually, forgot. I should also do that too, as well. So
Yeah, I've just been like waiting, dreading for that to happen, because then a stream of my voice is just gonna exist, and I'm here for it.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us during Waddicker in 2020. It's been very appreciated if you've been watching us either on like Waddicker TV, Waddicker Clips, or the main Waddicker channel with all the VODs. Any second watched is appreciated, genuinely. I'm not joking when I say that, because it genuinely means the world when anyone watches a single second of what we do. Anyone joins in for a single stream, watches a couple seconds, watches anything, or comments even.
Maybe
you know,
more than a few seconds though.
maybe more than a few seconds.
Like maybe about just 50
Like-
minutes to an hour
like
of your
6
time.
seconds.
Yeah.
6 seconds is all we ask.
Just
Yeah.
a little bit of your money is all we ask.
It's very
7
appreciated.
7
when-
seconds? We'd be over the moon.
It's very appreciated that we have a small but dedicated fan base. And
Let me try something I've never tried before.
what are you trying?
This.
Are you booting up
Oh,
your soundboard
gift
with metal
subs?
pipe falling sound effect?
Yeah.
Thank you, Biffin.
I-
Oh wow,
I
all the
gifted some
regulars
subs.
got him. Interesting.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Let me see if I got one. Oh, yeah, I didn't get one because I'm already subbed.
Oh yeah.
I'm already sub 2, but hey, might as well. Figured it wouldn't hurt. Why
Mhm.
the hell not?
It's nice. As a reminder, any donations we receive on Waddicker through the donation menu or on Twitch, we gain, we put to charity, specifically the Stonewall charity, which is the UK's LGBTQ plus charity, or the UK's
Hell
LGBTQ
yeah.
plus charity. We've been talking for 3 hours. I'm kind of slow now. But yeah, any donations we receive goes to Stonewall, which is very nice, because LGBTQ individuals love to be, or deserve to be loved and appreciated and respected the same as anyone else. And thank you so much for watching Waddicker over the course of 2022. I hope you continue to watch over the course of 2023. And hopefully you enjoy the stuff on Waddicker TV. Hopefully you enjoy the stuff on Waddicker Clips. And hopefully you enjoy the stuff on the main channel with all the VODs. And like I said, any second watched is completely appreciated, and it means the world to me. I'm glad that we've finally managed to get to a substantial milestone in terms of subscribers. It's actually a huge milestone for me, considering it's something that I've been trying to work towards for 10 years. plus. I've been doing this YouTube thing for 10 years now, and on and off on different YouTube channels, doing many different things, many different styles of content, of making videos, of doing live streams and stuff like that. I've been trying for so long, and I finally decided to put my foot down with Waddicker and actually go through with it. And funnily enough, I actually found my old YouTube channel this year, and I had a look in the description, and funnily enough, the description was on that channel, I was trying the exact same thing, where I wanted to have a crew of people who were all contributing to the channel in like videos and being in videos that we were in and we were making. And funnily enough, the description was structured pretty much the exact same as Waddicker's is now, and that was 6 or 7 or 8 years ago now. So I've been trying to do this for a very long time. I'm glad that we finally reached a proper substantial milestone of 1K. We reached 1K this year, which is crazy, and then we reached 2K, which is unbelievable, just in the span of a year. So
Cheers.
I am very thankful for that. I'm glad that we're finally reaching somewhat of an audience, which is very nice. And also the contributions that we've made to charity are very nice too. I haven't donated in a while, but all those donations are going to go in probably pretty soon once I have the funds to put in some myself. I like to donate a little bit myself alongside whatever we get from Twitch. So we've made a couple dozen donations to Stonewall, and we've made a couple dozen donations to I forgot what the other one was. It was the Samaritan Project, or Samaritans, that's it.
Yeah, Samaritans.
Which was the suicide and mental health hotline for the UK. And
That one was a good one to donate to.
Mm-hmm. And we're now on to all the donations now go to Stonewall, which is the LGBTQ charity. And but I'm really glad that over the course of the years we've actually finally managed to make some sort of impact, no matter how small it is, just any impact at all on doing Waddicker. We've made some significant positive changes to many people, and we get tons of comments, or quite a few comments talking about how they love what we do and how they love how we talk, love how we make content, all the videos we make, and how supportive we can be of them, including people inside the Waddicker crew in general, everyone in the Discord server, and everyone outside who's just watching. And I'm really glad that we can make a significant positive change through donations, through making people happy, through helping people through hard times, and through just generally being there and giving something for people to watch. Alright. We'll see you in 2023, where things are going to continue as per normal. We'll be streaming pretty much every day, almost every day. And all the stuff will be going on the VOD channel. We'll be making more content, putting on the Waddicker TV channel if you're interested in that. Come and watch us live on Twitch. That's where we live stream daily. Links in the description, alongside the Discord and a few other dozen links that you can find. And I'll see you next year. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you later. Goodbye.